What's up, people? I think this might end up being... Oh, shit. Hold on. Give me a second. Bit of a... meme one. I don't know. We'll see. Cyanides. China... US probably... Yeah, alright, okay. Vietnam, Italy... Oh, Vietnam was not a good guess. It was not a good guess. Okay, Italy though. Italy makes some chemicals. Okay, apparently they don't make cyanides. It could be... It's never Switzerland. I always think it's Switzerland for chemical shit. It's never Switzerland. It's never Switzerland. Oh, it's not Switzerland. Germany, South Korea. I should have guessed Germany. I could have guessed Germany. I would have gotten around to guessing South Korea eventually. Also, what's up, Japringo, Michael? Nice to see you back. Same with you, W. Dill. Okay, 15 billion, and it's basically all oil. Chad. Fourth, I mean, oh, it could just be... It could even just be Syria then, or like... I don't know if there's any good way to tell. I'm gonna guess Syria. Damn. Oh, wait, I guess that's 18 or 100 kilometers away, so I should have guessed further away than Iraq. What the fuck is, Pakistan, maybe? Pakistan would have, like, garments and stuff, right? I don't think Afghanistan would have this many exports, even. I think it would be more diversified. I don't even think they have the infrastructure for that much oil. It's gonna be it's gonna be fucking Turkmenistan or some shit. Let's go. I knew it was Turkmenistan the whole time, actually. I'm a big Turkmenistan fan. You guys may not know, I'm actually Turkmenistani. There's no, it can't be Turkish. But it's not gonna be... There's no way it's like Turkmenistani or whatever the fuck I just said. Turkestani? There's gotta be a better name. What are people from Turkmenistan called? Oh my god, Turkmenistani. No fucking way. Oh, Turkmen. Turkomen. Okay, Turkmens. Oh no, they do have a... Oh no, I thought it was said Turkmenistani. That's awesome. That's goated. Anyway, we're gonna be getting started here in a second. So, talking about Venezuela and stuff.
I'm gonna turn my thing on. I'm gonna turn my thing on real quick. Just I need to get everything set up. Okay.
Hello.
So what's up?
How's everybody doing?
This
Turn
will
my
be fun.
camera on.
I guess.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear
I
you.
think I got my camera right here.
Are we live yet?
Not yet.
I am.
On my starting sin screen.
What's up, known phone? How you doing, man?
What's
Is
up?
that-
I'm
Is that how I
good.
pronounce it? Is that how I pronounce
yeah.
it, or is it? All right.
I think you said it correctly. It's just non-fawn. Yeah.
Oh, non-fun. Yeah. Tomato.
Find out. Hold on. So we got about 3 minutes now till start time. Let's see. Where's Samantha? Let me see if I can. Said she's updating things. Well, I can just. She's been on my show a couple times, so I'll just give you guys the spiel. This is how I run my show. I will introduce a topic. I'll say hi to my audience, and then when I'm done doing that, I'll introduce a topic, and then I'll hand the mic off to you guys and have short, brief introductory statements. Tell people who you are, what you do, why we should listen to you. Give your opening thoughts on the issue at hand, and then we'll just get into it. Are there any questions?
Is my mic fine?
Yes, your mic's fine.
How about mine? Can y'all hear me okay?
Everyone,
Is everything
all
okay?
the audio on my end at
Right.
least is good.
And like, how much time do we have like to? I know we introduce ourselves,
Yeah,
but like for the debate
about a minute.
topic.
Don't make it too long because the meat of the discussion will be in the discussion itself. But
Okay.
you know, around a minute-ish should be
Right.
fine.
Is there a link? Oh, yeah, sorry. You posted on Twitter, I think,
Yes,
to
sir.
the link to the panel.
I can give. It's also my announcement section on my Discord if you want to
Oh,
come
duh.
there.
Sorry.
All good.
I'll go ahead and.
And I don't know where Samantha is, but hopefully she gets here soon.
It's fine. I can take on two.
We'll see. We'll see.
You can't.
Bro,
I
this is
like it to be
this is an awesome stream
a
layout.
little balanced, but we'll do what we can till they get here, and if they don't get here, I'll see if anyone in I'll see if there's a backup or something that we can poach or tap or whatever. You guys excited for Halloween tomorrow?
Yeah.
It's all right. It is a Friday, so that's a good day to have Halloween. So
It is. What are you guys dressing up as? If you say shrimp, non-fawn.
I think it's literally the only costume I have that
Does
fits
that
me.
count like as a costume for you on Halloween though?
I mean, I guess. Why wouldn't it? What do you mean?
Because
Just
you
I
wear
wear
it
it.
at other times,
I wear it other times.
non-Halloween
Yeah.
times, right?
I guess, but there's a lot of IRL people who haven't seen me in it. I guess so. For them, it's new.
6 o'clock. Let's get this party started. I'll hit go, and then we'll go.
So what? We're gonna be without Samantha for now?
Apparently, she hasn't gotten
Okay.
back to me. I don't see her, and I'm starting on time. So
Okay.
okay. Welcome, one and all, to yet another episode of WIC TV. It's a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. And gang, we've got a show for you today. And great. Our last guest just arrived. We're excited to have her. But let me introduce the topic first while she gets ready. We're going to be talking about Venezuela and whether or not the U.S. should intervene militarily in Venezuela. Recently, a carrier group was sent to the Caribbean with much speculation that they are preparing to do just that the Trump administration is preparing to make strikes within Venezuela to combat Maduro's criminal regime, as they call him. Is that wise? Should the U.S. military get involved in this? We got some great guests today, and we're going to talk about why or why not. I'm going to hand the mic first over to Get Money Dre. Go ahead, Get Money Dre. Tell people
Do
who
I
you are,
introduce
what you do,
myself?
all that.
All right. My name is Get Money Dre. I host No Echo Chambers, and I'm a co-host of Between the Islands with Vince, Real Visigoth down below. We have a podcast. I'm a human rights enthusiast. I am center left, depending on the issue. I believe that people deserve rights and freedom. And No Echo YT on X, No Echo Chambers on TikTok, and No Echo Chambers on YouTube.
Okay, what's your thoughts on the Venezuela situation?
Honestly, I get why people would want a regime change, but I personally am against direct military involvement due to fears of maybe bringing in someone worse. I would think that we should maybe arm some rebel groups or something like that, or doing some like indirect military involvement, like, give aid to the opposition to the Maduro regime, because this is not a pro-Maduro take. He is a monster. He has been oppressing his people for years. We need to do something about it, but we don't want this to turn to another Iraq or Afghanistan or Libya, where things have gotten so much worse since of our involvement.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. We will get into
Thank
it
you.
as we go. Next up, we have Non-Fun. Please.
What's up? I'm Nonfon. Stream on Twitch, Kick, Twitter, Nonfon420, YouTube at Nonfon. You can also find a bunch of my old debates. Center, left, liberal, neoliberal streamer. Talk probably mostly about economics. When it comes to Venezuela, I'm not someone who's like always principally opposed to like U.S. intervention. But like I think that if your big issue, I know people cite the drugs coming from there. It doesn't seem like they're sort of the primary country that drugs are coming from, so there's probably better uses of our military resources on the margin, even if you did want to use them to combat drugs. And you could probably combat drugs in places like Ecuador and Peru and Bolivia with potentially even the cooperation of their own governments, so we don't have any issues with provoking a potentially longer conflict there. I think one of the concerns is that if we do have a longer conflict with Venezuela, we're going to be drawing resources away from Ukraine, Israel, and potentially any future conflicts with Taiwan and the South China Sea. So those are the big things I'm worried about.
Okay, we're going to get into it as we go. Thank you for being here, sir. Next up, been a while since she's been on my show, but welcome back, Samantha Savage. Give us your thoughts.
As we know, I'm pro-military intervention. Maybe not necessarily at the scale Trump wants to do things. But I'm fine with regime changes done in a more like covert type way. There's better ways to go about it without raising hell and not caring what any headlines say.
Okay. Thank you for being here. We'll get into it as we go. And last but certainly not least, Vince, go ahead.
Okay. Hello. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on the panel. So hello, I'm Vince. I don't want to advertise my personal channel, but I will advertise my Between the Islands podcast, which I'm doing with Get Money Dre, which is on the opposite side of the island this time. So we are BTI Pod on YouTube and Kick. That's where we stream, and also a Real Visigoth on Twitch. So if you want to check us out, if you would like, if after this panel you like us, make sure to go there. We might also stream after that and cover some news as well. So my take on the whole Venezuela thing, I think that my concern is not, as Nonfon said, drugs. I'm not sure if that's my concern. My concern is basically, I remember the Cuban Missile Crisis. Not that I lived back then, but I know about it. So I know that Venezuela, just like Cuba, can be used as a proxy by somebody to attack United States, which is a very big concern for me. And I think for everybody as well, it should be. And also, I think people in Venezuela don't deserve to live under socialism. I think nobody does. So I would want them to be freed from it. And I just want to right away respond to what Get Money Dress said about being like Iraq, or what Nonfon also has some issues with this, that it might get dragged and be a long conflict. I don't think it's possible I mean, it's gonna be like bombing a bunch of like Minecraft villagers. It's very easy go. United States military is very powerful compared to Venezuela military. Unless China or somebody else like Russia is gonna intervene, which I really have big doubts they will. I don't think it's gonna be Iraq, or I don't think it's gonna be prolonged. So I don't see any negatives here. The only negative is might be understandable for me is how Trump is gonna handle it, because Trump is very incompetitive. He's not very competent leader in everything he does, so I understand that concern. But I believe that most of the stuff that's going to be done there, if it's going to be done, is going to be done by military, United States military, and by military advisors advising Trump. So I don't think it's that much of a big issue. So yeah, that's my take.
Okay, well, thanks for being here, and we're going to get into it as we go. I guess the first question I have for the panel, and this is for Vince and Vince especially, but Samantha, if you want to weigh in as well. You mentioned the risk of Venezuela being used as a proxy to attack the United States. Can you elaborate on that a little bit about what you mean and how realistic that is? Go ahead.
Well, I mean the same stuff that happened during the Cuban Missile Crisis, where Cuba was used by Russia to station their nuclear weapons to threaten the United States. I think that's quite possible in the future if Russia or any other country, like or if mostly China. I don't think Russia will do that, but China can as well do that. I think that's a real possibility. I'm not sure like how much is the percentage of how possible that is, but I think it's quite possible.
Okay.
I mean,
and with that, yeah, go ahead, Nonfon.
I would imagine all we would have to do to avoid that, even if we did think that was a big issue, is just have some deterrent and not like an actual active or like any actual necessarily active strikes against Venezuela. Like you could just have a probably a smaller Navy presence than we already have there by now to deter any like proxy force that they would try to use against us. I don't think there's even precedent for states doing that.
I mean, there's other options, right? So Maduro has already engaged in like gray zone tactics, right? So like using criminal networks, migration flows, and armed gangs to kind of help with like regional destabilization, rather than just like going like what we know is like a conventional war like route. So the regime is already fine using those networks, right? So it could help like influence pressure on the U.S. indirectly through like I said, like migration flow, drug trafficking, which both like increase a lot of destabilization. Then you have people like Russia, China, and like even Iran could leverage their foothold with Venezuela.
Can you turn your mic up just a smidge, Samantha, please?
Sorry, is that better?
More.
Okay. Is that better?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So like you have like Russia, China, and Iran could like leverage their position with Venezuela to also challenge influence in the region without direct confrontation. Since Venezuela and Maduro is already fine using like gray area means such as like cartels, gangs, and other like armed lower level forces instead of just an outright direct confrontation or a conflict.
Yeah, right, I would also like to answer to non-fonts. You said we don't have to like intervene in Venezuela. We can just have some navy. I'm not a very big historian on the Cuban Missile Crisis, but I like, why didn't we do the same with Cuban Missile Crisis, or did we do that? Because if that was the possibility, why didn't we do that? Like I'm not sure if that's gonna be a complete deterrent. Maybe going directly in Venezuela is gonna be more like option, like 100% option, not like 50-50.
I think you had much higher tensions, and there was a much bigger risk broadly with Cuba, being backed by Russia than there is right now with Venezuela. I think to deter Venezuela from sort of directly attacking us at all, which I don't think is something they've really done historically, or any Latin American country since Cuba has really done. You would not, like, we don't need to be doing active strikes against Venezuela. You probably only need some minimum Navy presence, and it's probably less than what we already have now. When it comes to the whatever covert attacks, I guess for one, I don't know if there's good evidence that at least Tren de Agra is connected to the regime. It doesn't seem like there's been evidence produced of that. I'm pretty sure it was either the Pentagon or State Department contradicted the Trump administration's claim that they were connected to each other. And I don't think, I guess if our concern is that there are cartels or whatever that the regime is okay with using, even if we were able to do regime change in Venezuela, it maybe whatever new government we got in would be a little less conciliatory to them or whatever. But like, you're not going to get rid of the cartels. And again, Trendagra is not even the main cartels getting drugs into the United States with just a less friendly Venezuelan government.
So what we would need to do in order to do a successful regime change is like already have like a base of Venezuelans who are pretty pissed off at the government, which there are. There are plenty of Venezuelans who are angry at Maduro. In order to have like in order to like cause to stop causing future problems in the future, or not cause any more problems, we would need to establish like a group or like a government in Venezuela first, or like arm a group that's not like, which let me explain this. I'm sorry. We need to arm like a
we're
rebel
all friends
group that's
here.
already
Just
there.
shake your shoulders, loosen up a little bit. You'll get it. Okay.
I want to get my point across correctly, because I get
Uh-huh.
Samantha and Vince's position wholeheartedly. Like, we need to do something about Maduro. Instead of just invading and conquering and colonizing the country, which will then poison the residents against us, we would need to work with rebel groups who are already culturally Venezuelan and who are like already part of.
Yes,
the
we already work
resistance.
alongside
That way
rebel
we can-
groups. But overthrowing like a regime doesn't necessarily mean colonization, like 100%.
I get that, but like, some people will see it as colonization.
Yeah,
If
well,
we
some people
do
are fucking
something too wrong,
retarded.
or if we fuck up one
That just
time,
is what it is.
Well, the concern, I mean,
Then it's
you
gonna
understand
go
the
back to
concern there would be
communism. I don't
if
want
we,
it.
I don't care about concern. We need to look at the actuality of what the outcome is. So, like, if the outcome is we do colonize, then you call it colonization. If the outcome is we overthrow a regime and like do a regime change or support a
but,
regime
okay,
change with
when you
rebel groups. No. When we support something like that and we let the rebels like have the regime change that they want, that's not colonization. That's helping like overthrow a shitty regime and helping the people pick their own regime that moves forward. That's not colonization. That's
his concern. What I'm saying is you're just missing it as saying like some people are retarded when they call it
want the-
colonization
some
or whatever.
people- some
the
people
concern is that
perceiving it
the
as
concern
such.
would be the concern, but the concern is that when the population perceives it as such, which to be fair, there are a lot of people in
the population
Venezuela
would be
who.
fucking retarded.
Well, yeah, but the
I'm not
concern
sure
there
if
is
the
the
population
government
will be
going to be
against that.
stable?
Hold on. Just let Nonfon finish. Go ahead, Nonfon, then I can let Vince respond, and then we'll get back into it. Go ahead.
You can dismiss it as like the people are retarded, but the concern is how stable is the government going to be if the populace doesn't support the government and they view it as some U.S. imperial government or whatever.
Okay, but when I said if they like the rebel groups that are there that are trying to get like better people in power over Maduro, right? If we let them do it, then it's not colonization. So perception means fucking fuck all at that point, because we're letting them pick their leader. Like, this is completely different than like us. Like, when I say like do a regime change, we're supporting lower level like armed insurgencies that are against Maduro, right? And then helping them with power. This is called like what do we call it in the military? Special Forces does it. It's a fucking something warfare. God damn, unconventional warfare, right? So like a lot of special forces and like groups like that, they don't directly fight the war, but they help like smaller armed rebel groups and insurgent groups that are anti those regimes do it on the behalf of us. But it's benefiting them in the long run. So that is not colonization. That's assisting with people like doing the change that they want.
Sure, and
Yeah,
there
I
are.
agree with that.
I will say, like, there are factions within Venezuela, and there are even opposition candidates that have, like, apparently the administration has been talking to, trying to have some plan for what happens if Maduro leaves or whatever. But I don't think it's fair to dismiss that concern. The only thing I'm saying is, regardless of what the actual populace feels in Venezuela, I don't think it's fair to dismiss the concern as just saying, well, people can be retarded or whatever. That's not.
Well,
the,
I'm not
We gotta
concerned.
let
I'm not
them
concerned
choose
about the
then.
people in Venezuela because it's going to be their choice, right? Like they can do from there what they want. We just take out Maduro and his like top leaders because there's like a bunch of leaders. So there was evidence of like a lot of groups working with a bunch of people in Maduro's regime, like the colectivos, right? Which is like armed pro-government groups, but they're still not like the official army. They're a bunch of fucking criminal gangs and organizations, right?
Okay, wait. What are the groups you're saying that are connected to government? Are any of these the like cartels that people are concerned about bringing drugs into the U.S.
You're specifically talking about like Trump's like heavy leaning on Trendagra, right? which is not necessarily so. There isn't direct ties to Maduro that we can prove on that, but there are ties where, like, a lot of the regional leaders in Venezuela turn blind eye and monetary support for them for what they're doing because they are bringing money back to the region in some ways.
Is there like significant tangible harm to the U.S. from any of those groups?
Yes.
Which is what? Is it drugs?
So a couple questions for everyone. What are those material harms? Can you list them? And second of all, once you do that, the recent Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to Maria, I'm going to try to pronounce this right, Maria Corina Machado? I don't know. Anyway, she's heavily involved in resistance against Maduro's regime. Instead of a military
I remember
route,
that Boeing stuff.
Could
it was
we
funny
not
when that happened. I remember that day.
Basically promote her and prop her up as a possible...
That's what I was.
I think if we promote her, I don't know how she's gonna win because we are talking about a dictatorship. Right? She can't win against a dictatorship without weapons. And what Dr. Get Money Dre said about like arming somebody, I don't think it's gonna work because I don't know how much weapons we should give to somebody so that they will be able to actually to win against the Maduro. And also saying about like if people are gonna be against that, I feel like we can just give them choice. Like, hey, you're gonna pick up a leader that you like, make a democratic election, and in that way, it's gonna be fine for them. I think.
Wait, I might be thinking of a different thing.
I
stuff. I'm thinking of the thing in 2019.
Real quick. So.
Or like that.
Why not?
That there will be democratic elections, or like there will just won't be a prolonged civil war in Venezuela. Like
yeah, but if we behead the government and say, okay, we are gonna have supervision and we're gonna have democratic elections, I think they can be democratic elections there.
Do you think there actually would have like democratic elections now with Maduro and that regime in place?
No, that's why.
Okay, so
we all want the same goal.
So with Maduro gone, they're more likely to have a democratic election than they are right now. Yeah, would you agree with that?
I would agree.
Okay, good. See, we're friends.
Wow. I mean, I would agree with that, and I think like the best outcome, and I don't know how likely this is, would be him stepping down and some opposition candidate taking power with some deal that they make with the Trump administration through whatever pressure we've applied to them by stationing half our Navy down there. I just don't see. I think that outcome is probably less likely than not a super long conflict, but like some actual, minimum amount of like actual conflict we have with Venezuelan governments and or the cartels there. And I think that whatever concerns we have about the harms those cartels are causing us, are like there's probably just better uses of our military resources, and there are probably other ways to address those issues.
Yeah, but a lot of the cartels and their activities cost American taxpayers a lot with resources in different ways.
That's true, but I don't think Venezuela is sort of the biggest thing of that, and there are probably other ways to combat. Like you just have harsher.
So just because
sort
it's
of
not
like
the biggest thing doesn't mean that we shouldn't handle it, right? Sometimes it is better to take care of the smaller problem first because it's quicker, more cost efficient. Just knock that off. Start with the small ones, then lead your way up to the big ones. Like so, saying, "Oh, it's not that big in comparison to other people." I don't give a shit. It's quick and easy.
I don't know if it's quick and easy. Why wouldn't is it like we've done things in the past where we cooperated with South American governments to like combat cartels. In that case, you don't have the same issues of provoking sort of a state-on-state conflict.
We did a lot of things where they still prop up cartels because cartels bring money there in illicit ways and other things, right?
But you recognize,
and so a lot of South American governments are corrupt. This is the true part, right? So, like, instead of working with these governments, we should change them.
But you recognize there's a high, like the risk there is obviously state-on-state conflict, using our military resources to fight actual state governments in South America when we have other conflicts in the world that we also have to deal with, and any type of state conflict,
what other conflicts are we dealing with? Like where do we have like people on the ground fighting right now? Do you know?
We don't have boots on the ground, but I also don't think we would put many boots on the ground in South America. I think we would probably only do.
We wouldn't need to. Like I said, the best course of action is small covert operations where we do unconventional warfare and get the small rebel groups to fight it on our behalf.
What small covert actions do you think Trump is doing that we weren't already seeing? Because the CIA and stuff already had.
That's the point of the covert, right? So, like, do you think you know everything the CIA special operations does?
No, but I think we
Okay,
could be
so there's
fairly
no
confident.
way of knowing if they are doing. No, we can't be fairly confident because there was shit happening during the Iraq War and OIF, OEF that nobody knew about until like 2014, 2015 in other fucking countries.
Do you
that
think we
nobody
can
fucking knew
be-
about for years? We do this all the time with covert operations.
Okay, this is what I'm saying. I think we can be fairly confident in saying the CIA already had some operations going in Venezuela. Certainly, I think I remember like leftists being mad a few years ago because there
That
was
was long
some-
ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could say fairly certainly, especially if you're saying we're doing this all the time or whatever. You know, we probably have had the CIA operating, doing some type of covert operations in Venezuela for a while by now.
Just to clarify, when I the subject, and perhaps I should have been more clear, I'm talking about direct kinetic strikes through aircraft carriers, cruise missiles, and not just covert operations, but overt military intervention by
what I
Trump
believe, too, as
administration
well, that you
into
meant.
Venezuela. That's what I'm talking about.
I thought that's what you meant too as well. That's why I picked the stance of against. But like if we were talking about covert, I guess that could work. We would need to work with the right people.
No, yeah,
to
no,
make
I get
sure
that. So,
power
but
doesn't go in the wrong hands, or that we don't like start a civil war or some shit, or like we don't like leave the country like in ruin, like Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, fucking I know it's a while ago, but like what's it called? I think Somalia, we did an operation there too as well. I could be mistaken, but
Somalia was fucked before we did the operation, and they fucked themselves after the operation.
yeah, the point is to not fuck fuck Venezuela more than it's already fucked.
No, I get that, but like covert operations is like so levels of escalation when you're doing things like this, right? So you have different levels. Like, so you would start with like what we've done with sanctions and other things, right? This is like the more political strategy, right? Then you can move on to covert things if that regime just still wants to play fuck around and find out. And if they're still pushing and like covert things don't work or they don't work out and things progressively get worse, like so we do covert things. The Maduro's like, hey, we're gonna put an army, we're gonna start doing this, you know, make threats, right? That's when you go force, like we roll our whole navy out there, be like, let's play. And if they want to play, that's when we can roll out a full scale invasion, or you know, conventional warfare means it doesn't have to be an invasion on ground, right? Desert Storm, Desert Shield was primarily not an invasion, but we have plenty of planes and plenty of toys we can do without putting a boot on the ground. We can have a lovely trans-military member in a bunker in Colorado do drone strikes from the comfort of an air-conditioned building. If we wanted to, but like, yes, covert operations is just a step in the ladder of escalation.
But the
I'm totally in support of overt operations.
Boots on the ground type. I'm sorry. Were you gonna say something first, Vince?
Yeah, I said I'm totally in support of overt operations and like a full military invasion. I don't see a problem with that.
I do.
You're in support of.
I don't want country being like the country being in worse. We are, first of all, Venezuela already has a sizable opposition in the country. It's not like a tiny group of people that are like coming out and saying, it's like, what's her name that won the Nobel Peace Prize? She won it for work with the opposition of the Maduro government. We would need, like, think that if we like trained or did covert operations,
support of covert operations,
that would be a good
and
way to
a full-scale land invasion.
Keep the stability of Venezuela, but kick out that corrupt leader.
What's covert at that point?
I don't think they
Now,
will
if
be
that
able to
fails
do that.
Now, if that fails to work, then we could try boots on the ground type shit. But like in the meantime, we need to make sure that Venezuela, like the people of Venezuela, are as least affected, like militarily as possible.
Why?
So that way they don't become destabilized. They don't become refugees trying to move everywhere. Like we need to keep their homes.
They already are.
But I mean, you recognize insofar as the government gets more destabilized, like they would probably be worse off.
Yeah, I mean there will be some casualties of like, you know, the fucking regime change and like war and shit. But like our goal is to minimize as much of those as possible. That way, if the people of Venezuela, when they do get the new government, they will be more likely to be friendly towards us long term. Which means
I'm pretty sure a new government would be more friendly to us if we were fine just doing armed strikes against the cartels that like destabilize it more so. And you know, that's who gets the government to become corrupt and work with. And so the government turns a blind eye or does monetary support, or the cartels monetarily support the regime. So like, I think doing direct strikes, overt, hey, look at this shit, everybody else, and do that to the cartels, that would do more benefit to these like South American countries than
We're not
pussyfooting
gonna-
around.
We're not even going to war with Venezuela at that point, right? You're saying we get a government that's friendly to us in charge of Venezuela, and then just cooperate
Take out
with
Maduro
them
too.
on attacks against
No,
cartels.
take out Maduro and then take out the cartels, and cool.
So we would
power
go to war
vacuum,
with
let's hope it's
Venezuela,
good.
overthrow their government, and then once we have a friendly regime in charge, we would then cooperate with that friendly regime on getting rid of the cartels.
You behead Maduro first. You let the people pick, and then you take out the cartels.
Okay,
How
the
you gonna pick
beheading
correctly?
Maduro first part.
Well-
What do you think would be necessary to do that? And also, what is the big harms that Maduro is doing to the U.S. also just mostly the cartels?
Is it just does it just have to be big harm to the U.S., right? They're destabilizing they're destabilizing neighboring countries too, like any and all like governments, right, or regimes that participate and kind of like are friendly to cartels and criminal organizations like that are doing way more harm to themselves and neighboring countries. And especially since we have like a pipeline of people that are coming up from South America into the United States, right? We're not getting people or immigrants or refugees at their best, right? We're having, this is putting a massive monetary burden on border issues on other countries between Venezuela and here, and on other countries that they're fleeing to that are safer than Venezuela, neighboring countries that are all destabilized by cartels and criminal gangs and organizations like that aren't going.
So when you say behead Maduro, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, my bad. But when you say behead Maduro first and let the people pick, how do you know they'll pick correctly? How do you know they'll pick someone who is friendly
election.
to us and our goals?
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be our goals. It has to be better goals for their people, because like if we can help them stabilize through a regime change, right, then that
Wait,
is
is
an
my-
alignment
is
with
my
our
mic
goals,
static?
right? Because
What's static?
if we let them pick and they pick the right person, great. That's like the best possible outcome, right? If they're not participating with the cartels, if they are strong on pushing back against cartels and other criminal organizations, if they're not willing to participate and do financial support back and forth because they're benefiting from each other, doing illicit activities and being corrupt, right? This is like the best outcome. If that happens again, cool. More bullets. We've got plenty.
I don't
Okay,
hear
so
nothing from it.
going back to say like why does it have to be our goals? Why can't better goals for their country? And I believe someone asked that. I don't remember who, but our goals are their better goals. Like we want them to have a better.
What
more
are hold
democratic
on, just real quick. What are our goals in the region according to you guys? Like according to Namfon and to Dre, what are America's goals or interests in the region regarding
to
Venezuela?
get rid of Maduro, get rid of communism, establish a free, democratic, capitalist society.
I mean, yeah,
And that-
primarily
that is the
stability
goal
and democracy
of United
should be our
States
goals.
is-
Want the military intervention be the right choice for that?
I'm not convinced that's the case.
I'm not either.
I don't agree. I agree that like in principle, like you can have a military operation aimed at those things. But for one, I think a lot of the things Trump is doing right now is not even attacks against the Venezuelan government. It's he wants to essentially go after cartels, and that might provoke something with Venezuela, and or to some extent, it seems like he has definitely had harsh rhetoric towards the regime in Venezuela and wants them to be changed. But I don't think that the actual outcomes from anything other than some deal with the opposition candidates would actually be good for stability and democracy in the region.
Do you think that if we make a deal with opposition candidates, they can overthrow the government?
They wouldn't overthrow the government in that case. So my understanding, there have already been talks between Trump administration officials and opposition candidates in Venezuela, and they basically have some plans for what happens if the current regime falls or if Maduro steps down as to what would happen next. So
But
there
what if
could be...
what if it doesn't fall?
I don't know what you're asking. What will
Then
Trump do? Or
if the covert operations and arming the rebel groups fails, then we can do what you guys suggested and invade Venezuela.
So for how long should we try to do covert operations before we're gonna try overt ones?
I don't know about the exact time frame because I was never in the military, but like I think when we run out of options, I don't know the exact time frame, but when we run out of opposition options, then we do
Okay, so
boots on the ground.
a majority of Americans, right, mostly Democrats, but a majority overall, oppose any sort of military intervention against Maduro, to topple Maduro or to affect regime change or anything like that. Does that give the Samantha's side and Vince's side pause when it comes to the U.S. Use of military force within a foreign country like Venezuela?
That guy
Do you
just
think that
said,
Trump
he's still saying
should or
until we run out of options,
needs
no boots on the
to
ground.
get approval from the American people before he institutes any of these things? Go ahead.
Well, I would wish there was approval, but if there is not, I'm fine to do it without the approval.
So even with no approval, they don't care. Everyone opposes it. You have 80. I don't know the exact percentage, right? But let's say there's like 70% of the Americans are like, nah, don't do this. You would support the U.S. Trump specifically using the military to go in and topple Maduro.
Yes.
With boots on the ground, to be clear, like the president unilaterally.
Yes.
Under what authorization could he even do that?
I mean,
Constitutionally?
he's commander in chief, right?
Yeah, it does not give you the ability to like launch a boots on the ground invasion absent.
War.
Yeah,
I
like
believe.
you would
Well,
That's-
but
special
Congress and
right.
people are different things. I don't think Congress is gonna be necessarily act like people. I feel like Congress might act differently.
Sure, but one like this is a check that Congress is supposed to have on the president. Congress has obviously granted the president leeway in determining sort of who he can strike with regards to terrorist organizations that had something to do with 9/11 and all the war power authorization acts that we did. But this is something that's supposed to give the American people who also elect congressional representatives some check on the president for, right? And you're saying the president should order a boots on the ground invasion without the...
Well, if it's illegal, I don't think he should order it, but I hope the Congress is going to be supportive of him.
Well, I don't think there'd be a legal basis for a boots on the ground invasion into Venezuela. I think the legal basis for strikes against cartels is probably already pretty iffy, both internationally and domestically.
Like a direct attack on Americans for Congress to,
not
a
necessarily
human rights,
a friend,
or like a severe
human rights violations and allies too.
Oh, well, I guess
just a reminder, we're not doing this alone. Like, we do have Trinidad and Tobago are helping us. There's other Caribbean and regional states. Yeah, Colombia is. There's Guyana, right? Also was pro the deployment of us doing that.
I just thought of something. Sorry. Why can't we assist like Colombia, Trinidad, and Guyana in like helping overthrow the regime too?
Assisting, right? Assisting is what we're doing essentially. We're all working, like all these countries are working together.
We were assisting Guyana and all these other
so think of it, this is
allies,
equity, right?
even
this
during
is equity.
during the Biden years now, right?
So you have a bunch of smaller nations that don't have the same military capability, right? And then you have the United States with a massive military capability. So the way equity works, right? The people that can help the people that can't. So we're just doing the most leftist ethical thing by providing a large amount of military support since we have it and they don't.
Okay, but we were supporting all these South American allies like before Trump did anything. Like put I think it's like 14% of our navy in the Caribbean, right? Like I think we have 10,000 troops or whatever in Puerto Rico right now, supposedly on some active alert. We were like, this is not like we're doing these covert operations. We're supporting our allies, whatever. This is a pretty unprecedented level of active involvement that is drawing away resources from. I mean, we don't have an aircraft carrier deployed in the Middle East right now for the first time in like 20 years.
That's a tragedy.
I think the harms done by like the Houthis, for example, which to be fair, I don't think much has happened there since the ceasefire. It's probably greater than the harms done by the Venezuelan government. So we should probably focus on the stuff that the Houthis do.
Yes,
instead.
Wahhabist fundamentalists are explicitly more dangerous than cartels. I would agree.
That is true.
So you understand why I probably want a lot of our military resources to go to the Middle East and
But do you know what the difference
Ukraine
between like
Wahhabist
fundamentalists and like people in South America that are involved with like cartel and stuff with cooperating regimes? There's a direct land bridge that connects to us.
Okay. I don't think that
the hobbits are way over there. They're less of a threat, but like helping out our neighbors is a way to help ourselves and our neighbors at the same time. And I'm, if we were fine liberating people from other like horrible regimes, but now Venezuela is a fucking problem because Trump's doing it. Mind you, I'm not a big fan of Trump. He's a fucking mouth breathing moron. But like at the same time, broken clock's right twice. So
again, I don't have any problem with helping our neighbors. I said on my the first thing I said, I'm not principally opposed to intervention, generally speaking. I just think the concerns that we bring up with Venezuela or whatever, probably better ways to use our resources, even for those goals. Again, if we're concerned about drugs or any of the other, I guess you say Venezuela is also destabilizing other countries, but even then, it seems like there are cartels in other countries that probably do more harm to other South American countries that we go after with their cooperation.
Yes, larger countries
with
larger
government.
populations that are engaging in larger cartels because they just have a more bigger population is bad.
No,
yes.
I don't think it's
math.
I'm just talking about the number of drugs coming from them. I'm not talking about I'm not using per capita numbers or whatever. You understand? If it is the case that more drugs are coming from Colombia and we have, there's DA reports that say as such, Colombia is a much bigger issue for this. Peru and Bolivia as well seem to be sort of bigger issues. And if it is the case, I don't know if all those governments would be willing to cooperate with us.
So taking out smaller scale regimes and smaller scale cartels is going to be easier, more cost efficient, and quicker. And it can send a message to the larger ones to stop participating with regimes. So something's going to be a smaller scale. No. So this is how warfare works. So something's going to be smaller scale, cost effective, and quick. It's much easier to do that with a high level of force as more of a deterrent than to fucking pussyfoot around and go tackle a large one that would end up in a long term, more of what you were afraid of earlier, saying it turning out to be more like another Iraq, right? If we go after something small, quick, and easy, cost efficient, and ready to go with the support of other neighboring nations, why say no?
What is the guarantees that it will be quick and easy? Quick, focusing on the quick, because we have a habit of going and getting involved and entangled in foreign affairs, and then being there for far longer.
Why?
Intended.
Why? I was there in that big, long, fucking retarded conflict. Why were we there so long, Wick?
A lot of reasons, right?
Yeah, because the back and forth of, hey, we can't do that. This is me. Oh, we can't do that. We can't. We had the full backing of the ANA. These fucking ROE cucked us. These fucking, you have to do this all ethical. It's fucking combat. Why do I have to kill a terrorist in some fucking ethical manner? The point is to kill him. You're fine with me killing him, but I can't kill him with this size fucking bullet because you got a fucking problem.
Venezuela being done in an unethical manner?
If we are killing cartel members, if we are killing cartel leadership, if we are killing Maduro, I don't care how they kill him. Kill him. The point is to kill these people. That is one of the biggest deterrents from doing this. If you start taking people out in the fucking town square, say they did this and fucking put 9 in their head, right? It's a pretty big deterrent. Other than we're going to look the other way and the regime's just going to fucking give you money. We're going to participate, become friends, and you can do whatever you want.
Why kill them? Why not hang them from a cross upside down and let everyone again torture them for
that kills them? So fine.
Months, right? If we're looking for just deterrence, why would
bullets and drones are more ethical than doing that. That's some cartel level shit. That's what they would do.
Well, I'm just saying when we talk about deterrence, but when we talk about ethical rules of engagement, yes, obviously we're going to kill these people. That's the goal, right? Is to remove them. But there are certain things that we don't want to do, such as that will risk causing overt collateral damage that is outside the scope of what we want. And my concern with Venezuela is not just that we're going to hit targets that don't deserve to be hit, but also that we will be there for years, and the costs will far outweigh any benefit we gain from this deposing.
We don't have to. This is why you use the level of escalation, right? So if you were to do so, mind you, the wars of our time, Wick, right? So we just went in fucking blind. Something happened and we just rolled in, right? If you do these covert things and you do them right, you're gathering intel, you're following people, you're getting things, right? Then you can scale that because you already have information actionable, right? And so movements are predictable, locations are predictable, they're known. We go in, we cut heads off.
And we think that the Venezuelan invasion, or if it gets to that point or whatever, like this is not a just we're going in blind thing. This is a super well planned thing that Trump like just started doing.
We've had CIA there for a while. We have
we had CIA in Iraq before we invaded Iraq.
Nowhere near the long term that we have had now with cooperation of local governments. Like the governments over there were non-cooperative in the Middle East for fucking ever.
Hey, Samantha, I got a question to ask you. So like you said that your position is to I know you're on the opposite team here. We said earlier that we already had allies in the region. This isn't like Iraq or Afghanistan where we have nobody really. Why can't we train the Colombian, the Guyanese, and the fucking Trinidadian militaries? And
they don't have enough people, and they're already sitting in their countries fighting the same cartels that are working with other cartels that are in Venezuela. Like a lot of military resources in all these countries are tied up, either helping the cartels or fighting the cartels.
And what regime do we have him ready in place to replace Maduro?
Well, that would be colonization if we put somebody in there, right?
Well, who do you think is most likely after we get Maduro out of there? Who is most likely to assume power after Maduro?
That I don't know for sure.
Do you think that may be an important question to ask before we engage in regime change? If you don't know, how do you know that the next people in line aren't worse?
Well, don't we have fucking Jorge, and fucking there's Maria, there's George, and was there more? I don't think so. Erusha, I think.
You think? Okay, fair enough.
But George, the first one, I believe he's in Maduro's regime. And then Machado's a fucking psychopath. And then I don't know much about Arusha.
Okay, well, so let's just look at Jorge here. George Jorge or George. I don't fucking know how to say those kind of names. What is his regime likely to look like, and how would it be better than Maduro?
Well, if it's not communist, then I think it's definitely going to be better.
Well, he's currently in the regime of Maduro, so he likely has some connections to communism.
Yeah, but a lot of the people within the public don't like him.
ISIS guy that rules Syria, I think it's going to be fine.
A lot of people don't like him though. Like, so he doesn't have the support of the people really, or opposition figures either. Like this would be if Maduro like just stepped aside voluntarily or got killed, like, and they promote from within, it would be George, and he doesn't have a lot of broad support.
Don't you think it's probably the most likely outcome the U.S. military could achieve?
And
unless we're gonna.
What is the ideal outcome? Let's start there maybe. If
free Venezuela,
everything goes perfect. If everything goes perfect,
democracy, that's what we all want, right? Is freedom for the Venezuelans, end of communism, like.
Yeah, but what if the Venezuelans keep electing communist regimes?
I don't think they will. I doubt that.
I don't either. Like, there's already sizable opposition to the Maduro regime. I could be wrong. They could elect another communist, but
do we go back in if they do?
We kill all the people
100 times over.
We nuke them.
I don't want this.
Do you see how unserious this sounds?
Just a reminder: they're not socialist or communist. They're pretty much an authoritarian capitalist state at this point.
Are they?
Yes.
I mean,
they are not communist or capitalist. The fact that like we're having this talk about Maduro and the way we are right now is definitely not socialist, definitely not capitalist, or sorry, definitely not communist. They're like a capitalist authoritarian statehood.
They're authoritarian.
But isn't there no private property there like it is in communism?
That's because of a military dictatorship, not necessarily because of communism, right?
Let's go.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, there's
property,
still no private
markets
property,
or
so I
whatever.
guess it's more like
the
socialism.
entire economy planned and owned by the state, single party system justified by dictatorship of the proletariat, right? But they still have, and that would be communism, right? Venezuela still has private ownership in parts of the economy. They still have black markets for informal private trade. They have legal private businesses, and they do have a class structure. So not
Well,
communism.
but they're very close to socialism, I guess.
Yeah, authoritarian socialism with like a mafia in charge. That's not really socialist. I'm just going to be real with you. Mind you, I hate socialists and I'm not like fond of Venezuela's fucking regime, but they're not fucking socialist or communist. So that's not a valid reason to overthrow them.
Run by like mafia, authoritarian fuckheads. Is the most socialist thing I could absolutely possibly imagine.
Maybe anarcho-socialism, maybe not like
that's just how it tends to work.
He's part of the Socialist Party, which is socialist on like by name, but I don't know like. Regardless,
I guess
we all know
my point is let's not get distracted into social. What is socialism debate?
Yeah.
I want to know what is in it for me as an American citizen. What is better about my life? Because we went into Venezuela and overthrew.
We could possibly establish trade and like lift sanctions and like I know Venezuela
and have more oil from them, I guess.
So more oil, but gas prices will go down. That's okay. You're talking. Let's keep going. What else?
Less danger to America from Venezuela and less chance that it's going to be used as a proxy state against us, like it was during Cuba.
To be clear, I don't think it's going to be used as a proxy state against us, just to be clear.
Okay.
This is, and that is worth both the risk that it turns out poorly for the U.S. in whatever way, and potentially turns out poorly for the Venezuelan citizens too, and the opportunity cost of the whatever, you think the next best alternative for our military resources are, whether it be being deployed in Ukraine or the Middle East and or going to some future Chinese conflict.
I feel like it's going to be pretty quick. I don't think there's going to be too much resources there used to like overthrow the government.
I do have a question.
I think there's a lot of benefits.
Like 3 people talking right now. Let's do one at a time. Let's go Samantha first, then Dre, then we'll get into it.
Okay.
So I think there are multiple benefits. I mean, law enforcement and border control costs escalate because of like people fleeing and like from catch and capture for drug cartels or like interdictions, right? So we could like basically not use as much money for community damage from like drug increases, public health burdens rise, like when the drugs are in here, right? It would lower like human trafficking as well, which would ease the burden on immigration systems, border control, lessen like the struggle with like non-vetted entries and exploitation of vulnerable people in U.S. and Venezuela, right? It would be we'd have just problem with crimes and destabilization. I can't fucking talk today. I'm so sorry. Destabilization in the region, right? And then you would have when you have like foreign states colluding with criminal groups, it's undermining like global governance and basically like cohesion in that area and other areas where they're like either trying to trade with or deal with when it comes to their people. And it's taking away more benefit, and it makes it harder for the U.S. to enforce its laws and protect its front lines when they're just like careless criminal organizations being sanctioned by the state that on our side, but they're being like worked with by the state on their side. And it's like a one-way asymmetrical like fucking criminal organization that's within like state cooperation and financially tied to it.
Any responses to that? Go ahead.
I do have a question. Like,
go ask your question.
Obviously military intervention, like if we can assure that like this won't turn into another Libya, I would be supportive of it. But like my biggest fear is like lawlessness, civil like that country, that Libya's a shithole now. Like it used to be like even like under like that evil fuckhead Gaddafi, there was still like high literacy rates and stuff like that. But like in Libya has been struggling with lawlessness since the ousting of Gaddafi and struggling with a power vacuum, including there's a viral video and pictures of a slave trade there back in 2017. My question is, how do we make sure this does not happen in Venezuela?
I think we will look after them and actively support them. That shouldn't happen. Also, I would say some concerns about like it turning into Iraq. Iraq had a pretty strong military back in the day. So mind that, I don't think Venezuela is on level of Iraq. So I don't think it's going to be that long. And I think if we're going to support them and look after them and have our regime there, I think it's going to be fine.
I mean, I don't think this would turn into Iraq or Libya just because it like they don't have as sort of strong like ethnic divides and everything that Iraq like Iraq and Syria and whoever has had. But like if we're saying, you know, we're going to firstly overthrow the regime via some military intervention and then to some extent actively look after Venezuela, I would imagine the military cost of that would be probably higher than whatever we're spending like screening for fentanyl at the border or whatever. And I don't even think overthrowing the Venezuelan regime would actually end the cartel violence, the human trafficking or whatever. We could have a government that's more friendly to our goals of trying to get rid of the cartels. But there are already South American governments who are more friendly towards those goals, and we could be cooperating with them. And I don't necessarily think that cooperating with Colombia, Peru, or whichever states want to cooperate with us would be slower or more ineffective than trying to overthrow the Venezuelan government and then collaborating with a new regime to stop Tren de Agua.
Let me ask, this is to Namfon and to Dre. Is there a point, or what would Maduro have to do for you to change your mind on this and say, okay,
That's actually
I think
a really
at this
good
point
question.
we have to go in and
I mean, if he
function.
invaded Guyana.
If he invaded Guyana,
If he invaded Guyana, if there was evidence of like a genocide or something, or if like he invaded like a neighboring country, or if he directly attacked American American ships, American vessels, or like American civilians unprovoked.
So genocide would do it, but short of that, no.
That would.
And what I mean by short of that, I mean short of like him oppressing his people, not allowing free and fair elections, arresting dissidents, arresting foreign national journalists and things like that. None of this would be enough for you?
I mean, it depends on like the situation. That's a good question, actually, Wick. But I mean, like if
all those things he's doing, all those things I just listed, he's doing. I'm just letting you know.
He would have to directly affect either invade a neighboring country or commit like a massacre or genocide or something like that. Or if he were to attack an American ship.
Got you. I got you. Namfon, how many shrimp have to die by Maduro's hand before you go in?
Listen, okay, the Venezuelan invasion is good because it's going to destroy some habitat and decrease future insect suffering, okay? I don't know how many shrimp. I do think like I care about the Venezuelan people, obviously the same reasons I support shrimp. I care about the utility of people in other nations as well. It's all just going to be a question of, you know, the likelihood of success of some U.S. intervention at actually getting better outcomes. And I don't know.
Do you not think that our U.S. intervention would be successful?
For what exactly? I don't think it would. I don't think it would be
regime change specifically.
I think we could overthrow the Venezuelan regime. I think like that's something we could probably do relatively easily. I don't think whatever new government there that it would be propped up or whatever would substantially improve the outcomes for most Venezuelan people or substantially be better or like harsher on cartels.
Can I add something, Wick? Sorry.
Go ahead.
I forgot to add, like, for my previous point, if our covert operations continue, like don't go anywhere within the next, I want to say, 8 months or so, then boots on the ground would be fine.
Okay, so you don't mind it, you just don't want it right now.
I want to exercise every single option first. That is why. I want to before we send Americans in Venezuela or before like full scale actual war.
Well, I'm fine.
We never even had boots on the ground.
I'm fine. Go ahead.
Just like we never even had boots on the ground to, like, for example, fight the Houthis or like aid Israel at all or with Ukraine. Like this is like boots on the ground is a pretty insane step. I don't even think Trump is going to ever put boots on the ground, really.
I think after Obama, most military leaders were so pussy about doing direct action and getting really, really involved for fear of like public pushback, and public pushback is going to happen no matter what. Sometimes things just have to be done. But what I was going to say, I'm fine with climbing the ladder of escalation. In just going forward. However, there was concern with it turning into Libya and Iraq, and that was because we didn't have a plan for anything after. We went in like really, really fast. There was no funded plan for any of the aftermath, right? We toppled leaders, governance vacuum followed, right? We had so like any form of security, like the ANA did their best, right? They were fighting something much bigger, but like in Iraq, right? Their security institutions were like broken up, they were disbanded or killed, right? The de-Baathification happened, and then just a bunch of like militias that were still like loyalists and shit fucks basically filled the gap in different regions and caused more destabilization. And then we didn't leave enough like stabilization forces and had no sequence of like action to like actually help rebuild. So we had military action and we had like nowhere near enough boots or administration or aid to stabilize post that. And like that's what happened with Iraq and with Libya, right? So like it can't be any military action can't be just like a fucking military stunt, which is one of my fears of what Trump would be doing, right? Because he's not the smartest person on the fucking planet. And he likes to pull big fucking stunts, make a political project out of something that he shouldn't be making a political project out of. So we need like really realistic political end state goals with like legal mandates before using force, right? Define our success point. Is it like, do we have security functioning and public service functioning, and credible elections, right? Not just like remove leaders and leave, right? We need like a multilateral legitimacy, like group or coalition, like maybe get like the UN, OAS, and regional states support and cooperation before major operations. So we have like international legitimacy as well of just being called like out for instituting some form of like puppet government, and that would help ease with aid and peacekeeping deployment in the future. A plan for stabilization before kinetic operations. So you would have peacekeepers, you'd be training police, engineers, medical people, and time to kind of like secure the population centers and like major critical infrastructure before moving in with like major kinetic phases. And then like having those in place before we start doing that. We wouldn't purge existing security institutions like wholesale. You'd have to like reintegrate people or vet personnel instead of assuming they're all combatants and all aligned with like bad Maduro people and bad cartels and organizations. And this would be like the major lesson that we learned from Iraq. And then we'd have to honestly fund and pre-position civilian reconstruction and governance teams. So we'd have to have like money in teams. We'd have to have like security sector reform and DDR from reform. So like disarm, demobilize, and reintegrate is DDR. And then security sector reform is SSR, sorry.
I think,
okay, just real quick. Can we agree that like Trump and Stephen Miller, who like Stephen Miller is the one, like, I don't know if you know, is the one like authorizing half of this shit anyway, under the which is new. Technically he's probably not supposed to be able to do that. And there's also no legal review on the Homeland Security Council that he's on that's authorizing these strikes or whatever. Can we agree they probably have basically none of that?
Authorization?
No,
on
plan.
any of the stuff that Samantha mentioned.
Yeah,
and I also don't think they have
issue.
authorization, but
I mean, the biggest issue is like if we were to do like a full scale like military like destabilization, like as Samantha said, that like Trump would just be like a publicity stunt, like a military stunt, without any actual planning. Like that's again a big issue on why we should try to avoid like on the ground. I don't know if I trust Trump enough to, or what's his name, Hegseth. Or Miller, those guys enough to make an actual plan to help the people of Venezuela rather than just do like a military stunt. Like,
I just want to be clear again.
Before you go, before you go, just as an aside, if you're enjoying this content, if you like my content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, send some super chats, gang. I don't know why you guys' wallets are so tight tonight, but throw me a few bucks and that'd be nice. It will really help me get through this shit show of a panel. But Namfang, keep going, and then I have a question for the rest of the panel. Go ahead.
Yeah, like these people I'm supposed to be trusting so much with to plan are the same people who like have removed the legal review from the National Security Council. That's not there anymore. They totally reformed that, got rid of that. and have the Homeland Security Council now newly, uniquely in charge of some of these strikes that we're seeing on Venezuelan like cartel boats or whatever, which also does not have legal review associated with it. And they don't even inform, like there was at least one of the strikes, like the White House was not even informed because the Pentagon had like given intel on some boats being possible targets. And they weren't even informed until like hours before the strike that the Homeland Security Council decided to do some of these strikes or whatever. I find it like there's no shot these people have any actual coherent plan.
That is the question I would have is, even if you are for a military intervention, even up to and including boots on the ground, is the Trump administration the people to get the job done? We've already seen Hegseth basically just invite reporters to the secret signal chat and things like that. What Stephen Miller making all these calls, what is inspiring confidence that this time the plans will be sound? When it comes
I think it's pretty hard to fuck up this plan because Venezuela is not Iraq. It's much weaker in militarily, and I feel like if they're gonna listen to their military advisors, they can do that. I think, but I understand completely the concern with that.
Okay, everything in my brain just said fuck no. Like former military, this is very easy to fuck up. Everything can be fucked up, small and large scale. While I do support military intervention, do I trust Hegseth at all? No, not a fucking single tiny iota of trust for that motherfucker. That guy is the biggest fucking retard, and I guarantee you Maduro would know about our plans to overthrow him because he would be invited to the fucking group chat, okay? My fucking fear is that Trump is doing this as a look at me fucking power play, like it's a fucking political stunt. I would like to have some trust, but I can't with his track record of pulling fucking political stunts. So while I do wish the best and hope that he can make fucking right decisions, he hasn't given me very much room to stand on or believe that he would do so. However, I do have faith that our advisors and generals, when touching foreign soil or getting involved on foreign soil, I'm not talking about international waters. I don't care what happens there, happens there. That's a little bit easier to determine. But if we're going to touch ground with boots, with fucking drones, with anything, our military leadership that has been in and knows what they're doing, I have more faith in them being able to push back and be like, sir, you're being a fucking retard. That's not going to work. Would that happen? Don't know, but I have more faith in them than I do anybody in the current administration making a right call military.
Just to be clear, you think that despite the incompetence of Hegseth, Miller, Trump, etc., that the jobbers, if you will, would get things done and prevent it from being a total shit show?
I'm saying I have more faith in them than I do Hegseth. If you were to stand before me right now and say we're going to go do military intervention, direct action in Venezuela, and instead of Hegseth you had Mad Dog, right? I'd be like, dude, we're gold. We are fucking gold. There's no way we can fuck this up. But I can't with the Hegseth and the leadership.
Who's the Mad Dog?
General Mattis. He's basically God.
He's actually qualified.
Very qualified.
That would be a better way of putting it than basically God, but yes.
Well, okay, to the Marine Corps and the Army, he is one of the gods.
Fair enough.
I'm pretty sure the only one in the administration that'd be willing to provide any pushback at all would be Marco Rubio. And to be fair, I think Marco Rubio has been involved in some of these things. But again, I would ask for Vince especially, is it concerning that one, these strikes are being approved not through the standard procedure that we had before without any type of legal review, and they're not being approved by the National Security Council, they're being done by the Homeland Security Council and Stephen Miller or whatever. And has anything Pete Hegseth done ever given you the impression that he is a competent person?
Well, Pete Hegseth is definitely not a competent person, and I think I would be worried about the legality of the strikes. So yeah, I would be worried about that.
But not enough to condemn them or whatever. I don't want to hold you to say
what to condemn? They haven't started the operation yet. They haven't started doing it illegally yet. So,
well, they've done strikes on boats, and I think the next step is probably if they do it would be strikes on.
Let's start there. Do we think that the strikes upon the quote unquote drug running fishing vessels, whatever you want to call them, were they done correctly? Were they effective? And were they legal? What are our thoughts? Go ahead, anyone who wants.
I think I would be wary of completely supporting it because we know that Trump doesn't like due process, and we can't be sure that he actually strikes the cartel and not some random boat. So I would be wary of supporting the boat strikes.
Yeah, I think there's probably
never know.
more effective ways on the margin to use our military resources. Even if we did want to go after cartels, it'd be, cartels that actually import more drugs into the U.S. than the Tren de Agua does from Venezuela or whatever, and probably from cooperative governments that might not provoke war with Venezuela as well. I don't think there's any good case to be made that it's legal. I think, by the way, if these are legal, then the proclamation of the AEA is not legal, because the argument for the AEA being legal or whatever is that Tren de Agua is like
American Enemies Act, correct?
The Alien Enemies Act, yeah.
Alien Enemies Act. Yeah.
They're a cartel that has some connection to the Venezuelan government, and therefore Venezuela is doing some predatory incursion, invasion, or whatever into the U.S. or whatever. The justification Trump gave the Congress for these strikes was that Tren de Agua is just a foreign terrorist organization, and the U.S. is now engaged in a non-international armed conflict with Tren de Agua. And if it's the case that it's a non-international armed conflict, that might give him justification to do these strikes. But it would make the AEA proclamation not legal. But I also don't think they meet the standard for constituting any type of armed attack that would actually give the president the right to engage in self-defense against them. Because I don't think any of the statutes that give the president that power are understood to include just the drug trade, essentially.
I think it was a mixed bag of fuckery. We had no fucking legal cover, congressional authorization or international mandates to avoid war powers and sovereignty, like any critiques, right? We didn't, so like Coast Guard, right? We do interdictions all the fucking time. There's a really sick, we make fun of the Coast Guard, but there was really sick videos of them boarding a fucking moving submarine. It was so sick. Other than that, the Coast Guard doesn't do shit. But they have strike and interdiction teams, right? Which gives us a chain of evidence, right? They had no fucking evidence chain. They had no due process, right? They were just, look, boat. I guess they're fucking cartel people smuggling. Shoot boat. No. There was no fucking direct identifiers that we could definitively prove. Nobody's seen any evidence, right? There might be some. Nobody's seen it. Nobody's tried to justify it before Congress. Nobody's tried to justify it before Joint Chiefs, right? We just did strike. We could have done interdiction and gained evidence. We could have multilateralized the efforts, right? So we can got neighboring countries to help us with interdictions or help us with evidence chain, right? So they'd be like, hey, yeah, we've been watching these guys. These are cartel guys. They're heading your way. Okay, here's some evidence. Here's them loading 500 kilos of fucking cocaine into this little tiny boat, right? They could have done so many other things than just point at boat from Venezuela and then fucking strike it. And so it was just there's no real justification or evidence or any reasoning. So this is more like the Iraq thing, right? Yeah, cool. We can find out later that it was a drug boat, but we striked it without any evidence beforehand. So we're still shit fucks in the end and assholes.
Yeah. How would you know that, how do we know the administration is telling the truth that it was a drug boat? That's, we don't know. No one really knows.
Yeah, that's the issue. There's no there's transparency issues all up and down. I'm fine with them just taking out drug boats. I'm fine with them striking drug boats. I don't care. That's fucking awesome. Fine with them interdicting.
If we know they're drug boats,
and arresting them if possible, striking them last resort. You can arrest people and put them in the prisons, right? Whatever.
Drug dealers.
Yes, but without evidence, just striking them, I think is kind of a fuck shit ass behavior and makes us look like assholes because it's an asshole move. Yeah, so there's other options.
And it has international ramifications and consequences many years later.
Yes, that's why I said it makes us look like a fucking total asshole.
Well, I don't think even if they were drug boats.
My bad, I was agreeing.
Just go ahead, non-fon, please.
I'm not aware of anything that would authorize the president to use deadly force against drug boats without at least some authorization from Congress.
They don't need authorization from the president. So the Coast Guard, if they find a drug boat and
that's for interdiction, though. That's not for drone strikes.
That's what. Yes, but that's a level that we can take. We don't need the president's authorization. If the drone is the safest way to take them out, if they're engaged upon at the Coast Guard level, they can engage with whatever weapons they feel necessary at the time.
The Coast Guard doesn't have military
if they're
drones.
engaged on would be the question, and that means that they're like, for example, if the Coast Guard goes to pull over a boat that they suspect of trafficking, and they get fired upon, obviously that necessitates and authorizes you to return fire. And in case if a drone's the best way to do that, cool. But we're talking about where they don't necessarily fire upon or anything. Like they haven't done anything.
Yeah, well, I think we were all in agreement that there's been no evidence, and that doesn't justify it, or no evidence cannot be like there's no way to justify the strike.
But even if there was
any evidence that they were
evidence of them being a drug boat, I don't think you get to declare something a foreign terrorist organization and then use deadly force against them if
that's not necessarily true.
They're involved in the drug trade.
That's not necessarily true. Like if they're designated a terrorist organ, like because if you're going to go with designated terrorist organization, there are things we can do without being fired upon. Drug trade or not drug trade.
Sure, but under U.S. law, foreign terrorist organization means you have to be some organization that has premeditated, politically motivated violence perpetrated against non-combatant targets by subnational or clandestine agents. I don't think anything trying to argue.
Okay, I would guarantee you that like cartels do cause imminent harm to innocent people, like physical, like purposeful,
premeditated, politically motivated violence against non-combatants.
They are in bed with a bunch of Maduro's regime's people.
What is the politically motivated violence against U.S. citizens, or even
push back against Maduro?
That's not okay.
We could use anything. We could use an attack against a tourist in Venezuela as it. We could use anything as justification.
That'd be politically motivated violence.
No, we could. We could technically do that.
I don't think the standard for politically motivated violence is they have some connection to a political entity and have done violence ever. I think it's that you do.
So would you wait?
Violence.
Would you call? Hold on. I want to ask a parallel question. Would you consider Proud Boys fighting citizens political violence?
It can be if they're doing it for political reasons. We understand the goal there is political, right?
Consider a Proud Boy who gets in a fight with some dude at the bar because they got drunk political violence, right?
Exactly. If the goal is political,
people there would be people that label that political violence. If the person that was attacked at the bar, if the person that was attacked at the bar was a leftist, it would be labeled.
If you make it politically motivated, then I agree. If you do politically motivated violence,
which is what I'm saying. The Trump regime would use the smallest thing to justify the biggest thing. I
agree. I think that's what makes Trump insane, and I think that's like the
which is
scope
why I'm saying they
matters.
Can. That's what I'm saying. They can do this. This is something they would be very likely to do because they have done it.
They designated Trend to Agro terrorist organization. What I'm saying is that probably is not legal. Like I imagine a court would rule against them. I imagine a court at some point, if it is subject to judicial review, even would come out and say, "Hey, actually, the statute was never meant to apply to the drug trade. It's meant to apply to jihadists."
Beautiful. Okay. I'm struggling for directions with this one, gang. We might wrap this one up early.
Wait, okay, Vince, do you think these strikes are like legal?
I don't think. I would doubt that they were legal. I think they were probably not.
Okay. Do you have issues with the president ordering plausibly illegal strikes on a country that we were not we were hostile to them, but we were not at war with them previously? We're still not at war, but the potential is potentially escalating to that.
I would say right now, maybe not. Right now, I would want a legal war. But let's say if Venezuela does something really fucked up, like let's say they start a genocide, like get my address as
why are we doing it? The president of the United States, just to be clear, Donald Trump, the president of the United States, has already done strikes against Venezuelan boats, right? He has deployed like a large portion of our Navy. I think it's 14% of our Navy to the Caribbean. I think we have 10,000 troops in like Puerto Rican bases or whatever. He's been he has, I don't know if Trump himself has said the word regime change, but he has been very hostile to the regime in Venezuela. It seems like a lot of this stuff is escalating to war. Like at least that's a credible threat that Trump wants to establish to maybe get a deal. I don't know why like we keep shifting into weird hypotheticals of like, well, if Venezuela did something super crazy fucked, well then yeah, 99% of people would be in favor of intervention, but we seem to be wanting to do intervention now when Venezuela hasn't done anything that fucked. Like,
well, I feel like for the future prospect, if in case they're gonna do something fucked, I feel like it's gonna be good to invade them if we have a congressional approval.
okay. We agree we don't really have a congressional approval right now, right? All that Trump has done is retroactively sent out a notice saying
Right
we're
now, we
engaged in a non-international armed conflict, by the way, not with the Venezuelan government, but with the cartels.
Sure.
Okay. That's all I needed. All right.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, gang, this has been a show. If you like this content, if you enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Tomorrow we're probably gonna just do call-ins in celebration for Halloween. I'll dress up as the scariest thing I know, a MAGA voter, and we'll do some role playing tomorrow. It should be fun. Call in. It'll be open call-ins. I'm gonna give outros to each of these lovely individuals. Tell people where you can find them. I have links to all their stuff in my YouTube description. Go ahead. We'll start with Dre, and then we'll just go around. Go ahead.
Oh, you can find me on TikTok at No Echo Chambers, No Echo YT on X, No Echo Chambers on YouTube, and also BTI Pod that I do with Vince. That's on YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. And did I forget anything else? TikTok? No, I believe I covered it all.
Hey,
So,
closing
thank you for having me, Wick.
Go ahead. Okay. Ramfon, please.
Yeah. I mean, I think, as I argued, like the strikes themselves that we've done so far are probably illegal. Any further strikes in actual Venezuelan territory would probably be a bad idea, probably not lead to good outcomes. I think there are better uses of our military resources on the margin. Even if you want to go after cartels, I think you should probably try to cooperate with states that are already relatively friendly to us in South America that have even bigger cartel issues that import even more drugs into the U.S. But I'm Nonfon. You can stream on Twitch and Kick and Twitter, Nonfon420. And I have a bunch of YouTube videos and stream on YouTube at Nonfon. Go watch a bunch of my old debates, mostly about economics. I'll be talking to one of the people who was recently featured on that Jubilee video with Luke Beasley, one of the MAGA boomers, tomorrow. So make sure to check that out.
Good luck. No, thanks for being here. Really appreciate you. Samantha, please.
I'm Samantha Savage. You can find me on Twitter at Savage Media. I not a streamer. I just talk and rant about warfare and Christianity, family, finances, etc. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks for being here. Really appreciate you. And last but certainly not least, Vince.
Thank you for inviting me to this panel. You can find the only thing I want to plug in is my podcast with this gentleman with Get Money Dre. It's BTI Pod on YouTube, on Kick, on Twitch. It's Real Visigoth, and you can find us on BTI Pod as well on TikTok. You can also subscribe to our Twitter or our Instagram, Real Visigoth, or to my personal Twitter, Real Visigoth. But I would really say let's subscribe to our podcast, because that's where we're going to have also, after this panel, we're going to have some stream as well with Get Money Dre. So please go to BTI Pod, and thank you for your attention, and thank you for watching us.
Okay, well, thank you for being here, and I'm going to let you guys go. See you later.
See ya. Appreciate it. Bruh. I knew it was going to be like that, because no offense, these weren't, like, known people, so I knew they weren't, like, super hardcore, like, MAGA people, whatever stuff. Dude, they didn't even care about the drugs at all. That's the big thing I've heard people complain about, is the drugs. I have so many thoughts, bro. Thank you for your attention to this matter. For real. But I said, I don't think welcome back. Welcome back, Rosh and Dylan. So many thoughts. I did see you complaining about the stuff they said about Iraq or whatever in the chat or whatever. Which, to be fair, I do think it, and I said this or whatever. I don't think there should be Iraq or Afghanistan just because, or it wouldn't be Iraq just because there aren't like the same sort of pre-existing conflicts or whatever in Venezuela. I don't think. I do think insofar as you weaken the government and don't get a significantly more stable one in, you could strengthen the cartels and there'd be more cartel violence. But you know, dude, but yeah, none of them even. I don't know if it's a good defensive Trump's actual sort of actions or whatever. Other than, and this is the non-fun, not prediction. This is the non-fun proving I don't have TDS or something. There could be a case, hypothetically, I don't imagine this will happen, where if like there just was some deal that was made, like I even have it down here, if there just was some deal that was made between the opposition candidates that are kind of already to some extent integrated in the government, because there are some people who are hostile to I always forget how to pronounce his name, that are in the government. It could be the case that there's some deal where he steps down and they get in charge and it'd be net good, but I kind of doubt that will end up what's happening. You were pretty fair. I like your marginal use of military point. It swayed me a bit, at least. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you know, not that I'm not an expert on this stuff or whatever, but it does seem like there's just way more drugs that come from Colombia, Peru, and Bolivia. And Tren de Agua is not even the biggest cartel involved. So it feels like, I don't know how favorable Bolivia is to us. It feels like we probably could, even if you just wanted to focus on cartels and didn't care about our military being used either in the Middle East or in Ukraine or for some future South China Sea conflict. Even if you want to go after cartels, there are probably better ways to do it that would stop more drugs and not provoke conflict with an actual state actor, because we could potentially have the cooperation of Peru and or Bolivia. Thoughts on heritage condoning groperism? You mean condemning? Didn't they remove shit? Didn't they remove? I thought they removed Tucker Carlson's stuff, and I thought that was because he went to Groyper and he talked to Nick Fuentes. Not to mention, well, Venezuela disputes a claim, doesn't have a big cartel issue. It has criminal gang issue, which is taking advantage of the economic situation in Venezuela. True. I don't see why we would want to stop drugs coming in. Should we want to increase supply to meet the demand? This is true, Conflict. Okay. When are we going to start doing more drug subsidies? You know what's funny? You seen that funny graph of the purity of cocaine versus the price of cocaine? Cocaine has actually experienced deflation. Because the quality has gotten better, but the prices remain the same. So, another W from capitalism. Colombia is an important because of the land bridge that she brought up. You cannot drive from NA to SA because the stretch of Panama is completely overrun by cartels and traffickers. Isn't there just a bigger issue, which is the fucking jungle? Isn't the Darien Gap or whatever? Aren't there like no roads here anyway? There probably are cartels here too and shit. It's just that I thought there were also just like basically no roads. Is that street or bulk? I would imagine street, but I don't know. Wastewater analysis. I don't know. I mean, there's logic to letting all drugs be legal and having the government ran drug places. Maybe. I don't know how well that would work. I thought there was somewhat bad evidence from that being implemented in Portland or whatever, but I never looked that far into it. Those panelists for real kinetic pause. It's mostly due to how dangerous it is? Okay. I guess insofar as there aren't roads, you could also say, well, there aren't roads because it'd be too hard to build them and or dangerous to build them and dangerous to drive on them. if they're testing the wastewater, it might just indicate acceptance in society, not a purity variation. Well, I think they, I think it's supposed to be, I don't know the exact methodology or whatever, but I would imagine it's like, it's not just like looking at how much cocaine is in the wastewater, right? Like, it's not measuring just quantity or whatever. Like, it's saying for any given cocaine we do find, how pure is it or whatever, right? I would argue that Samantha was echoing the same arguments used for the Iraq War. Notice you got some like about Venezuelan opposition. Well, that was kind of funny, yeah. Dude, spelling out the whole plan we needed or whatever, and it's like, bro, really? We expect Stephen Miller to have this plan? We expect, again, this is, I mean, not like the craziest thing that's ever happened, but the National Security Council, first of all, Trump reformed that. They now, they don't have legal review anymore. And there's like, there's been other changes made to the National Security Council. And Trump historically has done things like Trump heavily obfuscated the sort of data available on like how many drone strikes we did and how many civilians were killed in drone strikes. Like under Obama and Biden, there were rules implemented saying, you know, if the U.S. did a drone strike, we have to do these assessments. You have to inform the public at some reasonable time span. Trump got rid of fucking all those. We don't even know how many drone strikes Trump did in his first term. And then Homeland Security, or the Homeland Security Council, is now the one in charge of a lot of these Venezuelan boats, which is not historically the norm. And they also don't have any legal review, which is probably why, probably not legal. Not fun. I was mad when the bottom row was saying, yeah, the Iraq government's pretty strong, bro. Yeah, like before they got demolished in the 90s. Oh, true. Any given cocaine you can find goes directly to Don Jr., who is found vibrating on someone's lawn next state base. Okay, what is this? Easy money? To drop the mob. Yeah, Trump ended official drone strike tracking, but then Biden seemed happy to continue it. I mean, to keep it hidden. What? What do you mean? I could be, maybe Biden didn't change all the rules, but Biden did like very few drone strikes, is my understanding. I don't know if Biden reformed some of these rules, but I know Biden did very few drone strikes. I remember this article. Allegedly, will they obfuscate the number? I'm fairly certain. We probably don't know the exact number, but roughly how many Biden did or whatever. How do you know there is no official? They do put out official. I don't know if they put out official numbers, but they give statements and stuff about drone strikes and stuff. Again, Obama, because Obama got flack from killing civilians in drone strikes, made drone strikes a lot more transparent. Obama wanted to avoid being bogged down. New overseas occupation. Former President Trump is naturally even worse. At the start of his presidency, he rolled back even the modest protections for civilians Obama had implemented. Both airstrikes and civilian casualties increased dramatically in 2017. To be fair, strikes were scaled back in the following years, but the damage was done. According to Air Wars, during Trump's term, American and air artillery strikes in Iraq and Syria created more than twice the number of casualties compared to Obama's second term. Biden seems to have internalized some of those lessons. Immediately after taking office, he set up a new system requiring White House approval for any strikes outside of active war zone, and later published Trump's loose rules that enabled so many civilian massacres. Biden's extremely reluctant to grant approval. .404. Okay, woohoo. Also not fun. You know what's funny? Nobody in that panel realized Trump pretty much ruined the whole CIA operation. Oh, because he confirmed it or whatever. Oh, what's up, Bob Marley? Yeah, I mean, it was what my understanding. What happened, right? It was leaked that he granted them authorization to use whatever lethal force, and then he confirmed when people asked him about it. This is going to be Trump's second term now. How do I view the numbers from Trump's first term and stuff? Well, exactly. I will announce out loud that I have authorized the operations in Venezuela. Like, bro, yeah. Also, her point about the, like, I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain we had CIA operations in Iraq probably since the 90s at the very least, and we have had CIA operations in Venezuela for some time as well. Like, I don't think the thing that makes Venezuela an easy target that would make Iraq hard, and again, I don't think Venezuela would end up like Iraq even if we did do a full-scale invasion, and I don't think we will do a full-scale invasion, would be like the amount of time the CIA had to do stuff. But maybe I'm wrong, who knows. Okay. Man, it's big. Heritage Foundation has completely dropped any talk of Israel being an ally, shared values, or anything like that. It's just like any other country you work with, only if it's in America's interest. Oh no, he blames pressure from globalist class for demanding support from Israel.
Intellectual backbone of the conservative movement by canceling our own people or policing the consciences of Christians.
Did you see the Dutch election results?
And we won't start
You
doing
think
that
I
now.
care about the fucking
We don't take
Netherlands,
direction from
bro?
comments on X, though we are grateful
I haven't yet.
for the robust free speech debate. We also don't take direction from members or donors, though we are inherently grateful for their support. And we're adding more every day. This is the robust debate we invite with our colleagues, our movement friends, our members, and the American public. We will always defend truth. We will always defend America, and we will always defend our friends against the slander of bad actors who serve someone else's agenda. That includes Tucker Carlson, who remains and as
Oh,
I
no.
said before, always will be a close friend of the Heritage Foundation. The venomous coalition attacking him are sowing division. Their attempt to cancel him will fail. Most importantly,
Oh, the
the
Radical
American
Coder.
people expect us
Non-fawn equals not fawn. If you're not fawn, then what are you? Really makes you think. That's true, Radical Coder.
to be focusing on our political adversaries on the left.
You got your stats line maxed out of U.S. economic issues and at 0 for anything outside the U.S.? Obviously, duh.
Not attacking our friends on the right. I disagree with, and even abhor, things that Nick Fuentes says. But canceling him is not the answer either. When we
Oh,
disagree with
no.
a person's thoughts and opinions, we challenge those ideas in debate. And we have seen success in this approach as we continue to dismantle the vile ideas of the left. As my friend Vice President Vance said last night, what I am not okay with is any country coming before the interest of American citizens, and it is important for all of us, assuming we are American citizens, to put the interest of our own country first. That's where our allegiance lies, and that's where it will stay.
It's over. It's over. The base GMB centrists beat the far right. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. They're going to build 10 new towns. Let's go. Don't you know Trump here is going to build whatever happened? Didn't Trump have a plan at some point for whatever fucking stupid super city bullshit he was going to do? I don't know. I don't know what happened to that ever. God, I want to live in Amsterdam though so much, bro. I love Amsterdam so much. It's so it's so good, dude. Every day I wake up, bro. I'm like, I have to drive somewhere. I gotta get on the road. I have to drive. 5 minutes. I'm gonna kill myself. In the Netherlands, I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh my god, I get to go on the tram. I get to go on the fucking bus, bro. I get to go on a nice little walk. It'd be so good. And I yearn for it. I yearn. Like the J. Fuentes makes every conservative bend the knee. It's amazing how he does it with such finesse. Got a big audience. E-bike? I could use an e-bike. I don't actually know how to ride a bike. It is funny. I want to move to Amsterdam, but I do not actually know how to ride a bike. Despite them having such beautiful bike lanes. you want to move there for the horrors? You know, it is a nice benefit. It is a nice plus that weed and prostitution is legal there. I should probably, guys, look, I invaded Venezuela. Did you guys notice that I was doing that? I didn't get around to making Greater Israel. Well, I mean, I kind of already started out with Greater Israel, but even Greater Israel. So you can get some bitches too. Oh, and yeah, you can make the offer of 20 your name come true there. That's true. Hell yeah. And I can get some bitches. This is true. But yeah, they do have whatever decriminal. I don't even know. I don't know if it's legal or like, I think it's just, it might just be decriminalized or whatever. But they do have the fucking prostitutes. Wait, did they ever build that fucking... If I look up prostitute skyscraper, I don't know if it's gonna come up. Wait, Amsterdam. Let's say red light skyscraper. Are they actually building this shit? This shit. The sex skyscraper, bro. I remember seeing the YouTube video about it. This is like AI slop. The YouTube video is not quite it's not AI slop, but this is like an AI slop article about the YouTube video. I don't know how serious this plan was though. Goon towers, bro. The twin goon towers, bro. I need them. I want to live in them, bro. Infinite Stone and Cuck, they're not going to build many skyscrapers there. Oh, what's up, Faye? I don't know if I'm in Raleigh. What? Based? First of all, nice docks. Second of all, that's... Well, I'm not in Raleigh. I'm... Same state. Anyway, oh, and also for people who don't know, you're reminding me, Faye. We'll be going to, hopefully, I think so, like 89%. Oh, nice one. Committed or whatever to going to the Unfuck America tour thing in on the 3rd. What's the best state you've ever been to? I mean, North Carolina is obviously the best state. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I think I have not been to that many states. I've driven through Virginia and Maryland, and I've been to Pennsylvania, and I've been to Minnesota, and that's kind of about it. I do like Minnesota though. I do like Minneapolis is nice, and they have some trams there now. It is nice. What are the literacy rates in NC again? Probably not that high. NC. We do have good colleges though, okay? North Carolina's good colleges, okay? I don't think we're that high on... Okay, wait, 13 overall on education. That's actually not that bad. Or we're number 12 on education? Okay, that ain't that bad. Wait, is this counting college education too? I'm more concerned about... Oh yeah, okay, we're 16 in K through 12. Pre-K through 12. That ain't bad. Or 48th in the nation in per student spending. Is that high, like low or high? $43rd for teacher pay. Never set foot in America if you don't have to. America's good at, what do you mean? I travel for work. North Carolina's favorite among, yes, my traveling coworkers. Mine was always Oregon. Let's go. North Carolina, goated, I'm telling you. Okay. We're better in education than I thought. Actually, I thought we were worse in K through 12 education. Do we want to do the Mondami slop, bro? Do we want to do the Mondami slop? Do we want to do it? There was a discourse about this. I want to go to UNCCH for my master's. Yeah, see, exactly. We do have colleges. What are you gonna major in there, Faye? Bro, I don't even think I could get in there. I go to my lame community college. I actually love and see. It's a cute little stretch on my 85 on my way to VA. State patriotism, baby. I will die. Hold on. Oh, fuck. Oh, I gotta find this meme. I spent like 3 years in America and like 30 years ago and kept telling me how some areas look like third world countries. Notice areas GDP per capita are likely higher than UK and Germany. Well, that's probably true, but they probably do also still look a little bit like third world countries. Unfortunately. Bro, I might have told this on stream before. I was fucking debate broing some poor person in my school discussion forum because I just said, like, the context is super important. I just said, like, donating to charities in the third world countries is more effective or whatever. And she was like, oh, well, there's so many people in America that don't have a first world experience. And I'm like, why is this so small? I'm like, bro, dude, you can't be like, go to Somalia and tell the people there, we're not buying you malaria nets because people in the US also don't have a first world experience. Like, come on, bro. I will die for my country of Raleigh. That's the Hurricanes. That's the Canes. That's our fucking hockey team. Yo, LMAO, what's up, Jack? And America's a miserable place, and I wouldn't want to visit. America's not miserable. Before you get into Zoran Slop, not fun as a Zoran enjoyer, I'm constantly optimistic about his policies, and I pray to God he governs well. You know, insofar as Zoran governs well, I think it'll be because he governs poorly enough that a lot of his policies don't get through. I don't think Zohan would be like super catastrophic or anything, but I do think a lot of his like tax shit is just kind of stupid. Isn't a cosmic skeptic pretty anti-EA pilled? Have you seen his takes? Well, he's just an emotivist, right? You're such a hater. Like, he'll just say like, oh, I just kind of emotionally feel like it's more important to help, people closer in my moral circle or whatever. And because I believe that's what morality is, like, that's fine or whatever. But I would imagine bitch ass emotivist for real. The crazy thing about third world countries is that they always have highly secluded areas which make metros look like crap. But the second you leave the guarded walled regions, well, yeah. Haven't you seen the meme of the Venezuelan shit like that? And people use it as a dig against socialism or whatever. Anyway, this caused Twitter discourse, even though it's not directly related to Mondami. And from my understanding, all the graphs that show like definancialization or whatever trend is clearly started before Mondami. So, about the tax plans, I disagree with you about that, but I do think if his policies don't get pushed, it's cooked. I mean, most of the policies, the tax plan is, those are the things that require approval from state boards, right? The other stuff he has the power to do mostly. I think emotivism is more plausible than radical utilitarianism. Bro, radical utilitarian. What do you mean, bro? I'm the moderate utilitarian. I'm just saying that utility is the only thing that matters, okay? See these other people who bring in these other things, okay? See, they're the radical ones, all right? You're just afraid of the socialist utopia. This is true. It's because I'm a temporarily embarrassed millionaire. Remember the Sailor Moon girl? Which Sailor Moon girl? America's like legitimately stupidly pretty. And the other thing worth remembering is we get paid more than Europe. True nuke. By nearly double for tech to €1. Besides that, I got a dip because I rushed my sleep. Well, I'll see you later, Raj. I appreciate you're sick today. Well, I hope you get better. And I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going to stream again tomorrow. Remember 2 days ago when I said I was going to stream again tomorrow and then I didn't stream again tomorrow? That's because they delayed the other debate. And that debate is now happening next Wednesday on the 5th. So, but tomorrow we got the Jubilee person we're talking to. So, I calculated it and expected value is negative for the timeline where utilitarianism abounds. Wow. Base. Okay, gotta get through one thing. It'll probably be a relatively short stream, by the way, because I got other stuff I need to do fucking schoolwork, which I should have done yesterday. But who's the boomer we were debating for Jubilee? The Emilio guy, the guy who was wearing the Charlie Kirk shirt and said and complained about Kamala being a DI candidate. Is it the I'm a businessman guy? No, I don't even think I could reach it. He didn't even have his like social media link. At 270 Park Avenue in Midtown Manhattan, employees have moved into the immense new headquarters of JP Morgan Chase. The building boasts 2.5 square feet of office space, million square feet of office space, almost 1,400 feet tall, more or less the same as the Empire State Building, a mile to the south. Oh shit, are you in classes this semester? I am indeed. The base philosophy is just doing what feels right. I mean, I think most of utilitarianism is intuitive. Some things aren't. But like most of the practical stuff is intuitive. Other than, I mean, in some sense, it's practical in that it's like way more, or it's not practical. You can obviously in the real world you can donate 50% of your income to EA charities. In the real world, you're not going to have a utility monster really, and you're not ever going to be in the trolley problem. But the day-to-day stuff, okay, is mostly intuitive. Are fast buses good? I mean, all else equal, obviously, yeah. Not fun. Good luck with that goober boomer, LMAO. It'll be fun. Probably more fun than the last one we had. Measuring an entire city block across and built by a bank whose market capitalization is climbing towards $1 trillion, the building gives an impression of an unshakable dominion. For more than 2 centuries, New York City has been a behemoth of trading, banking, and money management and an imposing gateway to capital markets for America and the world. W. Press Mondami. And I did good, I'm pleased. Base. Wait, not fun. I almost got my dissertation marks. Got really, okay. I was like, well, I'm glad you did good, Rosh. That's nice to hear. Are you taking prereqs / gen eds? Mostly. No, well, actually, right now I'm just taking prereqs and a required some required transfer class that they make you take if you're on the transfer course. It's literally I only get 1 credit for doing it as opposed to like the 3 or 4 from a regular class, and it's just like telling you how to do some stupid transfer shit. Okay, but below the staggering spires, the city is losing its swagger. Where many parts of the world that once hosted humming factories gripe about deindustrialization, New York faces a different challenge. Call it definancialization. Its grip on America's finance industry and its high-paying jobs has weakened, and it is losing its allure for the ultra-rich. That poses a threat to New York's generous municipal welfare system, which is funded by milking the financiers using some of the highest local taxes in America. Thank you. All right, bouncing right now, gang. I'll see you later, Rosh. The trolley problem is making people allergic to high-speed rail. What's your utilitarian calculus on that, airport lover? The trolley problem makes people unreasonably allergic to utilitarianism, but I don't think it has an effect on high-speed rail. High-speed rail is bad because it destroys less of the environment and therefore leaves more wild habitat available for insect suffering and wild animal suffering to occur. For utilitarianism, how do you quantify the greatest good for the greatest number? And how do you decide whose definition of good to accept? So, anarchy. Number one, insofar as you think that utility matters at all. Like if you even if you say like I believe people have like fundamental rights, fundamental liberty, but like all else equal, if there were the same number of rights violations or if there were 0 rights violations, you should do the action that does the most good. If that's the moral view you accept, which is the moral view almost anyone who doesn't accept utilitarianism still accepts that there is some threshold or utility matters at least sometimes, you have the same exact problem as me, right? Secondly, other philosophies obviously have the same exact problem with regards to like whose definition of what do we use. It's like, well, within sort of broad, buckets, broad categories, people disagree, right? So the same as utilitarians disagree on what the definition of good is, there are going to be deontologists who disagree with what rights are. This is not a problem for utilitarianism that other systems don't have exactly the same problem with. Happy Rail make me so happy. 5 mils GHP would easily overwhelm the entire face. I'm the fucking utility rail monster. What if no moral systems are correct? Well, then it doesn't matter anyway. Then I'm doing what feels good. And what feels good to me is donating money to the Shrimp Welfare Project. Okay, I get a. I don't want to finish my sentence. Also, rich and finance industry are on a collision course with the city's likely next mayor, cheery left-winger Zorhan Mandami, who hopes to surcharge the city's tax and spend model, soaking businesses and the rich to pay for new social programs. The share of New York City's workers employed in finance and insurance has been in decline for years, falling from 11.5% in 1990 to 7.7% in August. Of the 232,000 jobs in the industry created in America over the past 5 years, the state of New York secured only around 19,000 behind Texas, Florida, North Carolina, and Georgia. JP Morgan, its vast new skyscraper notwithstanding, employs more people in Texas than New York. Why is New York City's financial preeminence? Catherine Wild, head of the Partnership for New York City, an influential business group, aka billionaire lobbyist evil, blames a double whammy of high costs and heavy taxes. New York State corporate income tax at 7.25% is not especially burdensome, but the city unusually piles its own corporate income tax on top, as well as a levy for the regional transport network, leaving some local businesses paying more than 18% in local taxes alone. I subscribe to George Carlin school of thought on rights. They're a cute idea, but also fictional based. I mean, I think rights are reducible to utility, and I think they are useful heuristics. Like it is useful to have a Bill of Rights, even if I don't think that rights are the thing that are intrinsically morally valuable. And I think it is useful to have like as a norm, as a heuristic in society that is even legally protected, to say that we have these rights or whatever. Like self-ownership, like personal liberties are like utility maximizing norms to have. They form one of the most useful lies high utility belief. Real. I mean, like you should be like, you can obviously believe that things are useful heuristics and rules and advocate for them to be treated that way and still advocate for them to be legally protected or whatever, even if you don't think that they are the intrinsic thing that matters. Another burden comes from exacting local regulations and hiring, such as rules that prevent firms from using AI tools without an independent audit on their bias, or those that stop employers from asking potential employees about their criminal or salary history. The result is that financial firms can cut costs dramatically by shifting work to cheaper places. Goldman Sachs has nudged managers to move to Dallas and Salt Lake City. As of last year, Morgan Stanley is the largest employer in Alpharetta, Georgia, a distant suburb of Atlanta. In July, Citigroup announced that it will expand operations in Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte is goated, hiring 510 people with an average salary of $132,000, almost twice the state's median household income. Truth is the most useful lie. Real. Which, by the way, technically, I don't know if I should be leaking this or whatever. Sarah reached out to me and asked, do any of these, topics. Do you want to do any of these topics for a 2v2 debate? One is about presidential immunity. One is about the left has abandoned the moral proposition. One is originalism is the best method for interpreting the Constitution. And fourth is, Roe v. Wade should have been overturned. And I was like, well, I'm a legal guy. Number 2 is most interesting to me. I said, I correctly guessed. I said, these sound like Ryan Malay prompts. And it was indeed him. So maybe we'll end up talking on November 10th. And if we do, it'll be about the left has abandoned the American moral proposition. And it would be broadly about utilitarianism. That'd be a theme underlying it. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to take that prompt, because I don't think it's like, it's not it's not entirely unfair to say like, oh, most of the founders of America were natural rights theorists. And obviously many people on the left are not natural rights theorists, therefore owned, destroyed. But obviously I think a lot more broadly, American values do align with some belief, some notion of positive rights, of opportunity that you can easily argue the left promotes via the whatever programs they want. Even if you don't think they would actually work and are effective or whatever, that, like, just a belief, like that belief in itself that like America should be a place for opportunity for people, and like you shouldn't be behind because you came from a poor family or whatever. Like that is something the left promote, like at least strives to promote via their welfare programs and whatever nonsense. Hope you're both in best behavior. Sometimes I think framing bias runs strong with you too, like you both obviously though. Well, I appreciate it, Jabringo. Okay, the shift at the corporate level is possible only because educated workers have been gravitating elsewhere too. Between 2010 and 2024, the number of people with at least a bachelor's degree living in New York metropolitan area rose by 32% to 3.6 million, by far the greatest concentration of skilled workers in America. But the overall number of Americans with a degree rose by 44% over the same period, meaning that the rankings have been swelling much faster than in other cities. In Miami and Dallas, the number of graduates has risen by more than 6%. In Charlotte and Austin, Texas, the number has more than doubled. Employers can find the workers they need in many more places. Workers have good reason to shun New York too. They face higher taxes and other costs. According to Bankrate, a price comparison website, the average cost of basic car insurance in New York is $1,700 a year, about $400 more than the next highest state. The average annual cost of a spot in a nursery in the city rose to $26,000 in 2024, a figure that has leapt by 43% since 2019. More than anything else, the sky-high cost of housing is a burden on both employers and employee alike. The median rent for an apartment in New York City, around $3,600, according to Realtor.com, a property listings website, more than twice the average of around $1,700 in America's 50 largest cities. Miami has over 60% college graduate population. Maybe if you cut down the two-city limit. No, I think it's saying, I don't think it necessarily means the population has, it's saying the graduates has risen by more than 60%, not the total population, 60% of them or whatever. And I don't know for sure if this is, I don't know if it's doing city limits or like metropolitan areas. I would assume metropolitan areas, but for the very richest, a change to federal tax laws, new minus old over old, it's just the percent. Well, it's the percent increase. So, yeah, right. Well, you do that and then times 100, I guess. For the very richest, a change to federal tax laws in 2017 has been particularly important in driving people away from New York. Until then, taxpayers could deduct state and local taxes from their income when calculating the federal tax bill. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, passed under Donald Trump's first term as president, capped this deduction at $10,000. That constituted a big increase in taxes for high earners in places with high local taxes. Longing to stray. Paul Singer and Carl Icahn, something like that. Icahn, Econ, respectively, the founders of Elliott Management and I don't care to pronounce that again. Enterprises, both big investment firms, are among the ultra wealthy New Yorkers who have decamped to Florida. Mr. Trump himself relocated there in 2019. According to the Citizens Budget Commission, a think tank, New York's share of American taxpayers reporting more than $1 million in income declined from 12.7% in 2010 to 8.7% in 2022. Thus, people paid $34 billion in income tax to the state and city in 2022, a figure that would have been $13 billion higher if New York's share of millionaires had held up. Estimates from Goldman Sachs suggest that fully 10% households in New York City with incomes of more than $10 million established residency elsewhere between 2018 and 2023. Like Icon? Okay. I think that's how I pronounce it the first time. But I always second guess myself. Because I'm usually wrong. As the ultra-rich have headed for the exit, the city's employment growth has become concentrated in much worse paid industries and finance. Since the end of 2019, New York has added more than 268,000 jobs in healthcare and social assistance, particularly home healthcare. Employment as a whole has rose by just 220,000 over the same period, meaning that if not for that industry, overall employment would have shrunk. I saw this graph. The shift is visible in pay packages. Wage growth accelerated in most America in the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic as inflation surged, and a tight labor market allowed workers to extract more from their biggest employers. Not so in the country's biggest city, whereas hourly wages in the private sector have risen by around 3% across the country since January 2020. Accounting for inflation, they've dropped by about 9% in New York City. No wonder Mr. Mondami's campaign platform, which focuses on the cost of living, has resonated so widely. Optimists see a ray of hope in jobs and tech. Employment in the industry in New York City rose by 64% between 2014 and 2024, according to Center for Urban Furniture, a local think tank. Oh my God, how many think tanks are we going to cite? So basically, as good as Coketon. What are we? I don't know what you're talking about. Alphabet, which owns Google, opened a campus on the Hudson River in 2022. Last year, OpenAI and Anthropic, two big artificial intelligence firms, opened offices in the city too. Even after the city's governance efforts to persuade Amazon to move its headquarters to New York City collapsed in 2019 under local opposition, the e-commerce giant has quietly expanded in the city. In 2023, it opened an office for 2,000 employees in Manhattan. In April, it leased another 330,000 square feet nearby, taking over offices preoccupied by HSBC, a symbolic handover from finance to tech. But the tech industry cannot compensate entirely for the dearth of new jobs in finance. As of August, assuming it means death, right? As of August, New York City hosted 84,000 employees in computer systems designs and related services. The group, which includes well-paid software engineers, that's less than a quarter of the 383,000 employees in finance and insurance. What's more, the industry and its employees face many of the same disincentives to expand in New York, including high taxes and a daunting cost of living. For the city government, a leaner finance industry, a smaller slice of the ultra-rich, and a growing share of the population in low-wage work are big problems. No state spends more per person on welfare and education. New York shelled out $9,761 a head on the two in 2022, 72% more than Texas, and 130% more than Florida. God damn. Daniel Wart London, a professor of history at Bard College and the author of The Menace of Prosperity, a recent book about New York's fiscal history, notes that the rise of the state's welfare has been bound up with elite-driven growth. Politicians have promoted the expansion of highest-paying businesses to benefit from the tax revenue the firms and their employees generate. The most expensive part of Mr. Mondami's platform is to spend as much as $6 billion a year to provide New Yorkers with free childcare. Even for some of the city's well-paid finance workers, the idea sounds appealing. Mr. Mondami hopes to pay for this by getting the state government to raise New York corporate tax to 11.5%, bringing it to the same level as neighboring New Jersey, and by levying an additional 2% income tax on those with incomes of over $1 million. Although New York's proliferate legislator might embrace this idea, Kathy Hochul, the governor, would have to sign off on any tax rises too, and she has repeatedly said
She will not allow them. For the very wealthy and for businesses, the additional tax would simply strengthen the case for decamping to Fort Lauderdale or Dallas. The fewer well-paid jobs there are, the more painful the city's housing costs will become. Complaints about ruinous rents in New York City are hardly new, but across the income distribution, housing is becoming a more pressing issue, both politically and economically. Technically, if you just make it so no one wants to live there anymore, then the rents will go down. Haven't you considered this? Big town blues. No. For poor New Yorkers, rents swell up in a ever-expanding portion of their already constricted salaries over the past 20 years. The amount of rent paid by low-income New Yorkers has climbed steadily. According to the City Housing and Vacancy Survey conducted every 3 years, households earning less than $70,000, roughly the median for tenants, spent 54% of their incomes on rent. God damn. Among households earning the equivalent $70,000 in 1991, rent accounted for less than 40% of their income. Cost of housing is a headache for better-paid workers, too, according to The Economist. Carrie Bradshaw Index, named for the protagonist of Sex and the City, a television show set in posh bars and expensive shoe stores in New York. Locals would have to earn $151,000 to be able to afford, i.e. spend no more than 30% of their gross income on the rent on a studio apartment in 2024. That is the 50% higher than pricey cities like Boston and San Francisco. The Center for Urban Failure and Urban Failure, which published a bullish report on the prospects of for the tech industry in the city, notes that the daunting cost of housing is the biggest constraint on its expansion. Recently, there's been some good news about New York's housing squeeze. In December, the City Council approved the City Yes amendments to zoning laws, which makes it easier to convert offices into housing, loosen parking requirements for some new developments, and allow taller buildings in less dense areas and near public transport. The liberalization may be the most productive outcome of the scandal-ridden tenure of Eric Adams, the current mayor. Last year, 34,000 new apartments were built, the highest number in 60 years. Developers were chasing an expiring tax relief when they rushed to complete projects, however. The performance is unlikely to be repeated this year. 30% for $151K for a studio apartment. Holy crap, that's crazy. It's New York. Although, it might be a bit of a caveat in that there are probably people who live slightly outside of New York or whatever, the New York metropolitan area. I don't know if it's looking at the city limits of the metropolitan area again, but Mr. Mondami's most notable policy on housing is to freeze rents for the roughly 1 million rent-stabilized apartments across the city. That would be a boon to the millions of New Yorkers fortunate enough to live in such homes, but it would not help the remainder of the city's residents. Landlords who own rent-stabilized apartments and the ones rented at market rates would probably raise bills where they could, driving up the cost for those already paying higher rent in the open market. With their incomes frozen, landlords would also drag their feet on maintaining rental properties. Developers and investors gripe that a freeze would discourage construction too, since new buildings must include some rent-stabilized apartments to receive property tax exemptions. What's up, Metro? The next damn candidate should run on national HSR. It would get millions of votes. I know what HSR stands for. Why am I forgetting? Oh, it's not that. Oh, high-speed rail? That's what you mean, right? I think the issue is, I don't know how credible people would view it as, but I don't think it's a bad thing for people to run on. Oh, I saw this. Well, I saw this original tweet, but yeah. It's horrible. It's horrible. Horrible, horrible. Like I said, wake up every day. I never thought about it like this. I've seen people compare, if you compare the Northeast to Japan, I've seen people make that comparison a lot. I've seen people orient maps that way as well to make that comparison. But yeah, we do have a lot of cities on the East Coast that are basically in a straight line that you could have high-speed rail between. But we don't. I hate driving. I hate driving. Don't make me drive. I hate driving. Okay. Mondami supported the city yes amendments, and city wants 200,000 rent stabilized apartments to be built over the next 10 years, triple the current rate of construction. Some of the city's YIMBYs in my backyard are excited by promises to fast-track projects that include lots of rent-stabilized units. In a recent debate among candidates, Mr. Mondami said he wanted to make it easier to build apartments for free market rents, too, by cutting red tape for developers. Whether Mondami's housing policy ends up including enough liberalization to offset a socialist clutch remains to be seen. Well, but nothing would do more to improve the economic circumstances of most New Yorkers than a dramatic expansion of the supply of housing. Without a resurgence in high-paying jobs and a big jump in the number of homes which workers of all incomes can live, New York will become a more economically ordinary American city, albeit one with extraordinary housing costs and generous welfare system that politicians wish only to expand. Worse still, the dimming of the city's preeminence in finance comes at a time when markets are booming, banks are in rude health, and unemployment is low. What might happen if America's economy were to slow and the banking industry were to fall in hard times, as Ms. Wild says with resignation? I'm afraid we're going to find out. Wow, rip. It's a shame. Dude, New York, if it wasn't fucked, I would love to live there too, because there aren't many American cities that are fucking real cities. I feel like the ideal non-fun dream home would just be like a fucking high rise in New York or Miami, but pretty fucking expensive. And also they don't even have the public transit Amsterdam has. They have more than most places. I mean, New York has more than most places. I don't know how well Miami's is, or how good Miami's is. It's nothing compared to Amsterdam still. When you get rich, I hope you keep me in mind. That's your driver here. I've 500k miles with no road accidents. I guess I'll keep that in mind. Well, technically, I haven't been in any accidents either, but might have driven a little bit less than 500,000 miles. And I haven't been in any accidents, but one, I'm just a bad driver. Two, I'm pretty sure I've run stuff over before, in driveways and stuff. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I don't remember anything. Nothing that bad. Have you been on the Shanghai maglev? It's insane. Well, I've obviously not been on it. I've not been to China. I've scuffed the bumper in the driver before, but nothing at speed. Yeah, I haven't done anything at speed, but I think I'm trying to think. I honestly don't know if I ran over one of the lights in my driveway. I don't think no one in my family knows for sure. It was either me. It would not surprise me if it was me. It definitely could have been me, or it could have been my dad with his truck and trailer or camper. Definitely could have been me. I just don't know. If I did, I unironically did not notice it. So then I've run over curbs before, but that was when I was new. That was when I was still really new to driving. And even that, nothing bad happened to the car. It was just a little bumpy. Okay. I got shit to do today. I'm going to watch this one thing, 16 minutes long. Surely 16 minutes. It's going to take me not 2 hours to get through, guys. Okay. Surely. It's just Destiny talking to someone at H1Bs. I want to watch it because H1Bs, yeah.
His action on the H-1B visa, I have found, shockingly, I support. Do we have, is that $100,000 thing, is that like confirmed? Is that 100%? Or is that like still another talking idea thing that might happen in 2 weeks?
So it's very likely going to happen.
Okay.
We've seen a reaction kind of across the nation and some other countries as well.
No one even knew what the fuck it was when it was first announced, by the way. I don't know how likely it is to happen. If it does happen, I think he clarified it would only start happening in like 2026, like next year. Enjoy your slap. I'll catch you later in your stream. Well, I'll see you later, Michael. But also, like, the policy was not remotely clear when he first announced it. Nobody knew. Like, there were people, there were people on H-1B visas on planes to leave the country, and they like left the plane. They all had to leave the plane because they were worried. They didn't know whether or not if they left the country and came back, whether they might have to pay $100,000 fee. Nobody knew who the fee applied to at first. Nobody knew anything. It was only afterwards when they clarified that there was, obviously there's a little bit of clarity as to when it would come into effect and who it would affect. But none of that is actually in the proclamation itself, by the way. Or like in the, I don't think it was an executive order. It's just like a rule change for the administration or whatever. And it's also plausibly illegal because technically the fees for processing visas and stuff, they're not meant to raise revenue at all. The only thing they're legally allowed to do is recoup the cost of administration. So good chance that they're illegal and the fee is illegal and it just gets struck down by the courts anyway. We'll see.
Living here in the Bay Area, this is something I see directly, and I know quite a few
I see a lot of brown people, and I just really don't like it.
people with this visa as well. There are a few things that are concerning. I've looked at the numbers, and of the recent data that is available,
The numbers.
75% of those who work in tech, and when I say tech, I'm talking about the large companies that are here. 75% of these workers are indeed H-1B workers. Now, the H-1B visa was designed.
Sorry,
Is that
what?
Here. 75% of these workers are indeed.
Is he saying 75% of tech workers in the Bay Area are H-1B visa holders? There's no shot that's true. And even if that was true, you're telling me that like H-1B workers are like that essential to our tech industry? Why would you want to do anything to change out of that point? Like, we've got rid of H-1B visas and there was 75% of employment in the tech industry in the Bay Area. Like, you would fuck over everyone. But they're not that. That's insane. Went to Brazil to get my American visa and got approved in 3 months later. Trump says he's not allowing Venezuelans to enter the country even before the visa is approved. Yeah. Oh no, it's over. Yeah. Trump is gonna Trump.
Workers. Now, the H-1B visa was designed.
Is that true? 75% of all tech workers in the United States?
That is according to the most recent data available.
Foreign-born workers reports in 2018 indicate that nearly 71% of Silicon Valley tech workers were foreign-born. This is about 2/3 according to Google. Silicon Valley tech worker. Okay. Over there, 2/3 of tech workers are foreign-born. So 66% technology workers employed in Silicon Valley, at least. Okay. Not fun getting red pill. True. Deport them all now. It's 27% in California. Oh no, hold on. It's not employment. Where's employment? Former does not mean H-1B suppose any over. Yeah, I mean, he did, regardless, he overstated it by about 10%. And they're not all H-1B holders. You can be a citizen and still be foreign born, right? I'm pretty sure foreign born includes people who are citizens even. But okay, Silicon Valley, it is close to what he said.
We have a room full of smartphones. Oh, sorry. We have a room full of smartphones. I encourage those to Google it. I may be wrong, but the last time I checked, which was the data that I had was pre-COVID, that's what I saw. Okay. And so, surrounded by world-class universities and a lot of grads who are struggling to get jobs, and computer science is not exactly unpopular, why can't these companies hire more American workers? What's going on here? I think disincentivizing them, relying on H-1B is ideal.
You're not disincentive. What do you mean disincentive? Like the H1B stuff, the fee or whatever.
And if
Sorry, I think maybe I'm misunderstanding what he's saying, but I think he's saying absent. Like I think he's saying the regulation having H1Bs is like disincentivizing them from hiring foreign workers, but really like that is a regulation that the government puts up because technically the free market norm or whatever would just be them being able to hire, whatever immigrant they want. Destiny only hires whores from Canada named Kyle. Okay, what's up? Guess you farted this guy.
not exactly unpopular, why can't these
They
companies
would just hire them remotely. There is evidence that companies that don't have, the companies who can't hire H1Bs tend to offshore more often.
hire more American workers? What's going on here? I think disincentivizing them, relying on H-1B is ideal. And if it's this $100,000 way, then so be it.
So I mean, like we can always like cut some like foreign workers to increase.
But also, and Destiny might mention this, obviously workers can be complements and not substitutes. So, I think I was just talking about offshoring. Obviously, if companies offshore less when they get more H1B workers, that probably, means to hire more Native American workers as well. It's also just like clustering effects and amalgamation effects. The reason all these companies station their headquarters or offices or whatever in Silicon Valley, in the Bay Area, and in these places is partly because there's a lot of fucking smart people there. And if you have a lot more smart people in one place, you're going to see a lot more investment in that one place. So you can have sort of clustering effects where you see more smart people brought into America, which incentivizes more investment. It makes it easier for companies to set up shop in these areas. And that like even if they were substitutes to some extent, there's just like such broad like spillover benefits from H1B workers because they're producing so many like they work at startups or whatever. A lot of startups are founded by these immigrants or employ a lot of these immigrants. They just make a lot of tech products generally that the entire world uses. These are people work like even if they depressed tech wages 10%, which I don't think there's evidence that they even do that, that's probably made up for in all the consumer surplus gained by their work. Probably to higher just overall growth that we see, higher productivity overall. They also do innovation that they do, by the way, the products they put out. A lot of stuff is it's stuff that helps other workers. It raises other workers' productivities. Obviously, workers' productivities could be helped by the type of innovation they do, by the software that they make, and that will raise other workers' wages. Not really. That is a fallacy because there is college and higher education drain in the fields needed. I don't know what you mean. AI engineers are not easy to come by at a graduate/master level. Undergrad, I don't know what you're saying. That is different than what I said, but okay.
Wages for domestic workers. Now, I'm pretty sure the number of H1Bs is like under 20%. Just on a cursory Google glance, 75% that's a lot.
The last time I read it was 75.
That's
is
a
that
lot
not
of
confirmed?
That's a lot of H1B workers. That sounds like a Trump stat. But also, okay.
So
but wait,
so
I'm curious to test just on this like idea. Real quick, what industry do you work in?
If I am incorrect, I work in analytics.
Okay. Do you think that you should be kicked out?
Well, I'm not H1B.
No, but you're part
I
of the
have one
country. You're born in Canada.
One parent from each country.
Okay. You said you were from Nova Scotia.
Indeed. Right. My father's American, mom's Canadian.
Okay. Well, Indeed is a obvious skip from Indian. So I'm just saying. Okay. I'm just saying, let's say that we got rid of H1Bs and we also said no more dual citizen fuckers. Okay. Wherever you were born or whatever. That's where you
CJ
are.
Vance getting blitzed by gropers at the recent TPUSA event. No, I didn't.
Yeah, but like if there was some like measure of like, wow, dual citizens sure are causing a lot of problems. Like
But you are, right?
I would
Like you're
say-
here taking a job from an American that could have that job, right?
Well, that's a good one, Destiny. Maybe.
He really hadn't. Okay.
But like I don't think that like given the
But it's not H1B though. So it's not a H1. So it's not an H1B job that he stole. Okay.
nature of the H-1B visa itself, right? It was designed for really hard to fill positions in which there are no American applicants available.
And Trump's changes make it worse. Make it worse because he's the retard. He maybe I'm the evil immigrant. Yeah, I know. He based it on wage levels. He didn't understand what he was doing. There's a metric called wage levels. Hello. Oh, gotta click the thing. That like Trump just stole to try to allocate visas based on wage levels instead of the sort of lottery it's on now. But wage levels was never designed to measure like how much someone actually gets paid by being called a wage level. It just measures the relative seniority within a position. So like, and I think they give the example here or whatever, an acupuncturist
can be wage level 3 with a salary of $41,000, but a surgeon they can be wage level 1, a lower wage level at a salary of $300,000 because the relative seniority of a surgeon making $300,000 a year, if they're like a new surgeon, it's lower than that of a like high skilled acupuncturist who's been in the field for a while who can be wage level 3. And obviously we would prefer the surgeon get here who's a lower wage level than the acupuncturist. But the way Trump changed the H-1B visa system to allocate it based on wage level instead of actual wages, or instead of the lottery we had before, actually makes things worse. It makes more outsourcing firms get visas, and it makes more unskilled workers who we think are abusing the system or whatever get visas.
That's not what it's being used for. Like,
are you getting the one guy, but I guess you farted, he's the dumbest motherfucker on Twitch, real.
and we have
But he has a cool hat and tie, bro. He is dripped out right now, bro. He's got the matching like jacket and vest here. He's got this cool hat.
and there are places out there like hospitals and stuff that need very specific doctors who have very specific credentials. Pediatric oncologists who can work in cardiac surgery, whatever. Yeah, sure. But for what it's being used for now, it's just being misused. And I think Trump finding a way to disincentivize that.
They made it worse. He didn't find a way to disincentivize it. He made it worse. Oh no, Billie Eilish calls out billionaires for accepting the Music Innovator Award. Tells them to give their money away, shorties. So she told them to give it to the Shrimp Welfare Project at least. Mark Zuckerberg is reportedly in a room when the comments made. Love you all, but it's a few people. Oh, I'm gonna watch it. The comments came. It's revealed Billie Eilish has donated $11.5 million from a recent tour. Did she donate to the Shrimp Welfare Project?
Love you all, but there's a few people in here that have a lot more money than me. And if you're a billionaire, why are you a billionaire? No hate, but yeah, give your money away, shorties. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
I mean, honestly, not that horrible of an anti-billionaire take, okay? Because she's just telling them to donate it, and I do want billionaires to donate their money to effective charities, and a lot of them do donate a decent amount of money to effective charities. Just sell your company, shorties, for real. I mean, that's obviously, yeah, their wealth is not liquid like a lot of Billie Eilish is. So liquidate all your stock, or yeah. Don't you know you can buy, borrow, die, and the buying part of that, what if instead of buy it's donate? So you take out a loan against your stocks and then use that loan to donate to effective charities and then die. Buy, borrow, die doesn't even happen that much.
Was shockingly something I...
She has the spirit. Listen, the issue is I think her spirit is actually worse, and she would like want a wealth tax and doesn't appreciate all the things that billionaires generously give us in terms of innovation and stuff. But I'm at least you said donate to effective charities. Okay. Well, actually, she did not say effective. She should have specified effective. What's up, South Ramen? Welcome back. My employer has senior AI position open for $250,000 to $300,000. Looking at Austin, Texas. More money compared to Cuck Johnson will ever see in a lifetime. Wow. Wait, why are you just saying? You're not even saying how much money you make. You're just saying that your employer has a job opening that you're not taking, or that you're not employed in. Okay.
But when I vote for him,
Okay, I don't believe any of this. Okay, here's an issue. Okay, there's nothing that has ever been said about conservatives makes sense. Okay, have you heard of the fucking fence post in the forest or whatever?
Their H-1B position. Okay, you were making fun of Testicle Johnson.
What this thing is?
Do not.
Hey,
I don't have any problem with H-1B workers coming here and working as a senior AI person. I think AI probably is pretty good, and I probably want companies to be able to have a lot of workers to make AI.
You're wandering in the fucking forest. I guess you're on LSD or whatever, okay? And your liberal friend sees a fence post, and he's like, "Oh my god, I don't know what this is here for. Let's fucking take it out." But your conservative friend sees it, and he's like, "Well, it's been here for a long time. It's probably here for a reason." And like, this is like Chesterton's fence that liberals want to upend and destroy everything, and conservatives want to maintain and conserve or whatever, right? Okay, why is it that when a conservative finds like some process that they don't like the immediate go-to is to dynamite and destroy the entire fucking thing? It makes me believe that they don't actually care whether the process was like problematic or not. They just hate the whole thing in and of itself. Because anything in life doesn't work. The first thing you would do is you would try to fix it, or you would do something to like alleviate the issues if you thought there was anything beneficial there. Now, if you thought the whole thing was trash, then you would just get rid of it. So like if we think so H-1B workers are supposed to be, you're supposed to make a good faith showing effort to the government before you apply for an H-1B visa that you try to fill the position. So if people think that that's not happened, then why not change, I guess, whatever we feel like they have to do to demonstrate to the U.S. government that they tried to fill this
I wish you knew about the wage levels. I wish you knew about the wage levels. Bro, it's not on wonk Twitter.
position they haven't been able to.
I agree with that, actually. The thing is, nobody's doing it, so yes, I don't think we should throw the system away.
But isn't that kind of what Donald Trump's like
But you just
$100,000?
said you supported that. You said you support disincentivizing it by making $100,000 fee for applying or whatever.
Yes, but it's the only, like, this is the only time this attention, like, the president has paid attention to this. Biden hasn't, he said everything regarding that.
I don't believe this. I don't think you're just really a real human saying this to me on stage right now.
Wait, so,
because you would never.
so when did Biden ever address H-1B?
I don't fucking know, probably not.
No, he did not.
Okay,
And
but,
so,
no,
so
but that's
did
what I don't
Obama?
believe. That's what
No,
I'm not. That's what I'm not believing. Okay, what I'm not believing is this idea that like it's this weird argument that's wheeled out where, well, at least he's doing something. So the fuck what? Like just because like there's a problem and somebody does something doesn't mean that the thing they're trying is automatically respectable or good, right? You know, like there are situations like you've heard the saying like you're only making it worse, right? Like that could be a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Could he have gone through Congress and passed H-1B reform?
Not gone through
or
Congress,
something like that?
but like had a brain processing the problem and actually figure out like what the fuck is the actual.
Had anyone remotely competent work on it, had actually announced it well, so it's not caused a fuck ton of uncertainty for people who didn't know whether or not they were going to have to pay $100,000 fee when they were going to re-enter the country. A bunch of companies didn't know when it was actually going to take effect. And again, it doesn't even look like it's probably not going to, I think they said it's not going to take effect till next year. And I think next year's like things or like applications are like already all filled. So it's probably actually not going to take effect until 2027. But, you know.
Solution.
Do you think he sat in a room and came up with this 5 seconds? Like,
I think that probably Stephen Miller said, "Fuck Indians. I don't like these, Pajeets or whatever the fuck. And we're gonna get rid of them by doing this H-1B thing." And then Trump was like, "Whoa, explain this."
Blood and salt,
In
let's
between all those
go.
fucking orange pasty tans or whatever, he signed some fucking.
This is probably true. It's probably how the Trump administration operates. I imagine, especially for this, bro, $100,000 fee on H-1B visas, bro. Like,
You have no idea what he said or what it meant. Yeah, probably.
I don't know if it was exactly targeted at Indians, so to say. But
sorry, I have a lot of Canadian friends who hate Indians, so.
No, I think Indians are lovely.
But I think don't Indians also not to.
but I live in the Bay Area, and I look around, and I see so many H-1B workers, and I know just by looking at them whether they're H-1B, like, bro.
Don't they make
obviously like literally? Fuck. Wait, was Charlie Kirk alive when the H-1B change happened? Because I remember Charlie Kirk tweeting out that America is full and doesn't need any more immigrants, and that Indian immigrants were like the worst type of immigrants. But I don't remember if they were. I don't remember if that was prompted by this specific change or if that was just like unprompted. Obviously, a lot of people on the MAGA, on the Groper right, don't like Indians and will complain specifically about Indian immigration. And with the government, with the tweets that we see coming out of the DHS now, and the types of comments Stephen Miller has made, I think it's silly not to assume that that's not at least a fraction of the reasoning of a lot of the people within the administration. You never know with Kirk exactly.
the like lion's share of like H-1B tech workers?
Yes, they make up. I'm sorry.
They do. Yes. Yeah.
65. You said the majority. So they make up the
Indians
majority.
do make up like a very high amount.
Over half. And I do know that like the Indian government did make a response to Trump's proposal on this, and they were like, this is going to hurt our economy. We get a lot of money if people send money back, and I hate to see the ripple effects in deep. However, it's nothing else is being done, and so it kind of pushes one.
Why does this guy talk like that? Does he normally talk like that? Like he's trying to. It sounds like he's trying to come off as like some British fucking smart dude, bro.
To think if I'm on the left and this is something that bothers me, and nobody is doing anything about it, I'm gonna think to myself, okay, well, this is something. Like this is the first time I've ever seen the issue addressed. And living here, it's a very kind of present issue, and especially with the high, just the issues that are in this area.
Do you know who Uncle Adams is?
I do not. Who's Uncle Adams?
Don't worry about it.
Very well.
I can't engage with this argument because I still don't believe this is a real argument.
What do you not believe is real about it?
I don't think there's any other circumstance in life where you would accept any effort towards a problem, even if it made the problem worse, just because somebody's acknowledging it's a problem.
Destiny, how does this make it worse?
Because he's effectively just blowing up the H-1B system without running this through Congress.
It won't affect current holders.
But he wants that.
It won't affect current
Well,
holders.
like
Those who
you,
hold it
for
now
real.
will not pay $100,000 fees.
Sure.
It's a feature of applicants.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's blowing up the program and it's going to cause
Well,
mass.
I imagine
Too much Piers Morgan.
Going to apply for it in the next.
Bro, I haven't. Bro, I'm not. That might be the explanation.
Dude, I'm so glad I've not touched any Piers Morgan content in forever.
I don't believe this. I don't think you're just really.
What the fuck?
You think
What
no
the
one
fuck?
will lie?
For
Oh,
100K?
it started playing in a mini player on the other tab I opened.
Like there.
Dude, for all the I vow never again to stoop to this level of slop. Every single thing is just so stupid. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's horrible, 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 horrible. Why so much of it like Israel Palestine still?
There will be people who.
I'm sorry, I've actually not hired H1B. Is it $5,000 for the app, or is it more? Does anybody know?
It used to be about
It's what?
$5,000. It was
It's about
about $4,700.
Okay.
So
So I don't know, for 100K, that's a big ROI. Like you're gonna need to.
but the H1B was designed for exceptional talent. If they're exceptional, then they must be worth it.
I don't think H1B is exceptional talent. I think it's just
We have like a O1 visa or whatever. I'm so done with the Palestine for like the truly like generational like genius talent or whatever. But H1B visas are meant for like high skill workers that, you know, are net tax contributors, workers that develop very important things, workers that work at startups that just develop all the technology you're using right now, like
fill
Or
positions.
like highly needed talent.
Be,
right?
yeah,
So
like
if
a
they're
position
really
you can't fill
needed,
in
you
the
can't
US.
find anybody else.
Yeah.
There is going to be ROI there. There's going to be like they're worth this investment. We can't find
The
anybody
ROI
else in
needs to
the
be a
country
lot
who's
higher. The ROI needs to be a lot higher now than it was before, right?
Yes, but it's still like doable. It's still something that these mega corporations can afford if they.
I think it's like, I forget the metric, but it's the fee is like a crazy high percentage of like the average earnings of an Indian. Alpha, would you describe me as MAGA? I don't know enough about you, Eleni.
wanted to, but
Well, sure, it'll just mean
it'll
higher cost of
disincentivize
everything.
it. It'll disincentivize it a little.
I mean, I think that right now, like right now we're having tech hiring problems, okay? But like, but these fuckers had fucking amazing jobs for a long time. Okay, fuck these guys, okay? These guys got hired in COVID.
This is Truth Nuke. It's actually, even if H1B workers do reduce tech wages, it's good because that lowers inequality. And I think inequality is intrinsically important. Do you think I'm MAGA? No, I know you're not, Metro.
Comp sci graduates have like a fucking 0.9% unemployment rate. Okay, when these guys tell you about their struggles, all right, there's like Hassan talking about how like his his Tibetan monk dog, like his dog food costs $7,000 a month, and that his pants cost like.
And it has benefits for, hopefully you mentioned this, for everyone else. All the technology they make, all the fucking innovation they do, the taxes they pay. But I wish you knew more about the fact that they plausibly are not even, at least in some cases, not even substitutes for American workers, but actually in complements. I have like a list. I have to sort through somebody's better, but I have a list of studies here. There are papers, like I think this one or whatever, that finds some displacement of similar U.S. workers, but there are, the opposite effects that you see because of, like I said, clustering effects and the fact that they reduce offshoring. Bro talks like he would drop indubitably in a casual conversation. Exactly, that's what I mean. He's talking like that.
Any mortgages or whatever, right? Like tech workers will come out and say some wild shit. Like I just read.
But I don't think I think he's doing that only because he's in this debate. I don't think he would normally talk like that.
From college, and I can't find a single company willing to hire me at $125K a year. It's ridiculous. Okay. I hate tech workers. Fuck
There
all
you
of you.
go.
Yeah,
Okay.
boo me, motherfuckers. Fuck you. But what I'm saying is that and the honest ones will tell you that especially during COVID, I think in the period post, there was a huge rush to hire tech workers, and then there was a pretty brutal correction where a lot of them got laid off, and then I think around 2023, I think it was picked up again, and then I think as of recently, there's been another kind of layoff, and now we're I don't know if
Yes,
we're gonna but in the ebbs and flows, you're gonna hire H1B workers because you just don't have the American workers to fill it, but then.
Hi, see, I was MAGA at one point today. I woke up and came up with this. They're turning our streets into gas chambers using tear gas and children during Halloween. What do you think? Not fun. I don't think about what part of that. I don't know. I don't know what you're asking me. I'm not a debater, lol. Thanks. Thanks for following whoever it was on Kick. I didn't see the name, but I appreciate it.
Then when you have the ebb and then the flow and you lose workers, you're probably going to work harder to maintain, I would guess maybe the H1Bs is because you pay the application fee and everything else. So
We had, H1B is a lottery system. What's nice about the lottery system is it lets us do a lot of good, causal inference by looking at firms who, did or didn't win lotteries, okay, but.
Yes,
the
but
percentage
also,
I could hire,
it's unfair for the H1Bs because they're beholden to their employer. If
This is true, lady. Dude Zorhan and JD Vance are the future of D's and R's. Neoliberalism is dead. I mean, I sadly don't entirely disagree, Metro.
they get fired, they get deported. It's a package deal. So they
how many
feel-
fucking people working in San Francisco are like, oh my god, like I'm a slave to fucking Amazon or AWS, and now I'm gonna be deported. I just want to go back home to the fucking.
Well, no, like if you hold an
Okay,
H1,
I'm sorry. I'm just saying, like,
There was some funny Reddit threads. I wish I had them saved. When the change was first announced, and immigrants were worried that they were like H1B people were worried they were gonna have to go back, and they're like, bro, like, bro, I gotta kill myself to going back to India. Oh my god, bro, like, it was funny. It was funny. I think there were like gropers like making fun of them and posting it on Twitter, but like it's just like all the exploitation arguments that, you know, it's funny, the left, like leftists are usually the ones that run the exploitation arguments. That's why even in the H1B, like Trump cited the Trump administration cited like a EPI, Economic Policy Institute, left-wing like think piece about exploitation in H1B industries when they were trying to justify the changes they made. It's like, bro.
People take these jobs for a reason.
but if you hold H1B visa,
Also based,
like the
Jack.
company has extreme leverage over you.
Yeah,
Like,
every fucking employer does. Welcome to
Not if you're an
capitalism.
American. If you're an American citizen, you can say, "I'll walk," and you can walk. You have the right to. This is California, at will employment.
Can't you leave for H1B?
Well, we have Medi-Cal in California, so indeed.
It's complicated. They can enslave you if you're an H1.
You have to be. Your employer sponsors your visa, so you have to.
You want
be
to
tied to an
sure it's
employer.
gonna be.
And by the way, you can just make, like, I think a reform that we should make is it should be more easily transferable. You should be able to transfer your visa between companies a lot easier.
Or else your visa is rendered invalid, and with this president, you will get deported.
I'm just saying that like they're making these decisions for a reason, right? Like I don't think like people are acting like the H1B system is like the fucking guys in Dubai whose passports are being taken from them, you know, putting like 10 people in a shack. Like I think H1B people, like it's weird. This argument's not real.
Doesn't Destiny know the immigrants who move to Qatar and build the World Cup, whatever, not only do they earn much higher wages than their alternatives in India, but they also even have like lower injury rates in construction. Why are you in favor of mass migration? I guess I don't know exactly what we mean by mass migration, but just, I mean, generally, workers are going to go to the most valued use case. They're going to be employed in productive areas. That's going to help all the workers, all the immigrants, and probably consumers and the country via growth as a whole. Seems to be decent evidence that immigration can do those things, at least when properly structured. I do think, and I've talked about this before, Metro, the way our asylum system worked was obviously not properly structured to handle that. It was not properly structured to easily assimilate people, to easily get people working as fast as possible. But, you know, the reason neoliberals keep losing this topic is they never talk about culture. I just don't think the cultural effects are like particularly big. I don't know.
Not real either. There's not a real argument. Like no conservative believes. No, it's like when conservatives like we're kicking all the illegal immigrants, we're saving these poor children from being fucking sex trafficked.
I'm not concerned about illegal.
No, but I'm saying like you're saying like these H1Bs, these poor H1Bs are being enslaved, and that's what we're doing a favor for them.
That's one of many issues with this program.
It's not an issue with the program.
Okay,
overwhelmingly, people H1Bs, I don't think they're like, oh my god, I'm in America and I'm being enslaved by my fucking tech company mastermind.
I never said overwhelmingly. I'm just saying I don't think it's a problem. Saying that it isn't.
Are we gonna blow up the whole program because what percent? Like 5% of people, maybe. I don't know what this guy would say. Think that they're being exploited by their big tech company overlords. I'm in favor of mass migration because it increases GDP. This is exactly me for real.
Indeed a problem.
I don't think it is.
And you simply don't think it is?
No.
Why not?
And you could fix that again by just making it easier to transfer visas between companies.
Because I think that they're probably in all of the Indian society or whatever for people that
I must say the Indian.
Because I think overwhelmingly for the tech industry, I think it's like the largest representation.
Okay,
of them.
we'll
Or but
go
anybody
with
that's
that.
applying for an H1B, right?
Okay.
For anybody that's applying for an
Maybe
H1B,
okay.
they're probably, my guess is, probably some of the more highly educated people in those countries because they've got the technical know how to apply for an American job and they've got the willingness to move to America, right? So they're probably some of the most privileged class, meaning in their countries, they probably
I
have
thought all the Gen
much higher
Zers were
choice.
just fans of Nick Fuentes.
They could work, but they're not going to pay as well. And they're making the choice to apply for the H1B and come to the United States or whatever and work here. So I doubt in general that these people are like enslaved by their masters to do work.
Okay.
Like,
I don't know. Enslaved is a bit.
I'm sorry, I'm using hyperbolic language. I think
they are literally contractually beholden to the employer.
Yeah, but like, I understand.
If the employers
There are plenty of U.S. workers that are also, at least to some extent, contractually beholden to their employers. Now, they don't have the same issues with if they, you know, they'd be deported back to their home country if they didn't work for them or whatever. But like, there are non-compete agreements. There are contracts people sign all the time to be committed to one company or whatever for a certain amount of time. Like,
just started doing them wrong in some kind of way.
And again, just make it transferable between countries.
Or any sort of, we know that these companies.
Sorry, companies, not countries, but
Companies are not altruistic.
I mean, Code to the K Metro is going to say, I mean, he might just say things like, doesn't Nick Fuentes like support Ukraine at least partially? I don't know, but he's just going to say like fucking
Gen Z Republicans are like all legitimate, full-on Nazi people.
Right? They're going to do
I
their...
understand. It's just like a con for benefit,
And Nick Fuentes is only a half Nazi. Okay.
right? But it's like a very minor con, and people choose the benefit. Are you familiar with the concept of tuition reimbursement?
No.
Okay, so the way that I've heard it works generally is when I go to a casino, they offer this. You let's say you're at a job, and they'll say, hey, if you want, you can go get a bachelor's or master's degree. We'll pay you more, and we'll even cover the cost of your tuition.
Okay.
But you got to work for us for 3 to 5 years or whatever. Otherwise, when you leave, you got to pay us back the cost of your tuition, right? I mean, so like on the way, you're kind of like on the hook, but it's like a huge benefit. A lot of people like accept that and pursue that, and they are okay with that. I guess theoretically, your boss could treat you like shit, but nobody would ever say like, well, if we got rid of tuition reimbursement, at least we wouldn't be beholden to our masters because we are, on the hook for this tuition. They say, like, well, that was a big benefit, and there's a con.
All right, you get the final word, my friend. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Finish your train of thought. Go ahead,
I mean,
here, how about this? The vast majority of H-1B holders are happy to have H-1Bs, right?
maybe. We don't know. Okay.
Why would they get an H-1B if they didn't at least expect it to be good? And then, like, they can't. Obviously, he's right that it's hard for them to transfer visas between companies, but they do have the option of going back.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Why do they apply for them?
Well, they
This
apply
isn't real.
for them for money. I mean, right? A lot of us take jobs we don't really like so we can make ends meet. But I'm saying, like,
Yeah. And the money that they get as H-1B workers, like 10x the median salary in their home country. Like, yeah, you'd be willing to accept even pretty bad conditions for that. At least a lot of people would. And I don't think most H-1B workers are really kept in particularly bad conditions. They probably live pretty good lives compared to their home countries most of the time.
they apply for them because they want the job. Yes, they want the job.
Okay.
That's their goal.
Okay.
Indeed.
And now we're making the program virtually unusable, or it's going to be exceptionally.
We're making the
gated.
program less accessible. I'll
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And ostensibly, we're doing that, I guess, for the domestic American worker, I guess?
That's what I'm choosing to believe. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I can't read Trump's
Well, no,
mind.
I will
and
say,
I don't
like,
like
no,
the
I
guy.
mean, that's a stated
I like
reason.
the policy.
That's a stated reason, and I agree. That's why, right? It's a protectionist immigration
Yes,
policy
to-
to protect your domestic labor, and
Indeed.
maybe in certain times, like I guess, like this is all I'll say. Okay, if you were concerned about the H-1B program, then I feel like you would look at like what, like I feel like I'm only doing this one time, and so many claims of this are so overblown in terms of like how many people are participating, what companies.
Yeah,
have
I
to
mean,
do, like,
that's 75%.
But what I'm saying is, like, what you would say is like, okay, well, if there is like, I think the H-1B program is being abused too much by corporations, so I'm going to put like these new guidelines in so that it's not being abused as much, right? If the graduation rate of some
And again, the one thing he did do on that, they did it super incompetently because they based it on wage. They based it on wage levels, not actual wages. I'd be in favor of reforming H-1Bs to not be a lottery and just giving them out to the highest paid workers. But, can't have nice things. Can't have anyone remotely competent make changes to policies. And again, because outsourcing firms are the ones that get or like employ disproportionately like higher wage level workers. The changes he made is actually going to help. It's actually going to help outsourcing firms instead of hurt them. There's going to be more abuse.
sector is too low, or
Like you can see the large outsourcers where they hire based on wage levels. They hire a lot more wage level 2 people and more wage level 3 as well. A lot less wage level 1 than other companies.
I don't think you've done a good faith showing and trying to hire people. Or we're going to even make like a public portal for people that are applying for H-1B jobs to have American jobs or whatever, or American employees looked at first. Like this is a person who sounds like, oh, okay, well this guy probably wants to, modify the H-1B system.
Yes.
When I see Trump come in and do this wacky and wild $100,000 limit where fucking people didn't even know the implementation, people trying to grab plane tickets from it, nobody even knew what the fuck this looked like.
True.
Because you've got this senile
Yes.
fucking moron on stage,
Finally.
signing an EO, he doesn't know what it does, and no one even has any guidance on it. This is like a deeply unserious approach to this problem, and I'm not going to give him good credit for approaching it just because it's a problem nobody else was acknowledging. And I feel like that train of thought would carry over to every single other problem in your life. You would never accept somebody approaching a problem you have in a horrible way just because at least they're saying something about it.
Okay. I could.
All right. Put your hands together for our friend here. It was a great run.
Thank you.
And how about everyone's hero of the night, Stephen Bonnell Desi, Donald Trump's worst nightmare? Oh,
True. Okay. Incredible. Oh, I hate this country. Well, Kanzi passed away at the age of 44. The extraordinary, but I've seen this monkey play Minecraft before, obviously. Wow. Unfortunate. Rip. I dedicate this stream to Kanzi. Funny monkey play Minecraft monkey. That it's dedicated to the him, her. Him. Wow. Okay. I got stuff to do, but I'll stream again tomorrow, and it'll probably be an actual longer stream tomorrow. This was a pretty short stream, but I got like schoolwork to do, and I really should
dedicate the stream to Lord Keynes 2010 to 2024. True. I dedicate this stream to Lord Keynes before he fell off. Lord Keynes put only his posts about praxeology and not about anything else. Yeah. Wait, not fun. What's up, Isaac? But yeah, tomorrow we'll be streaming, talking to that. This is very important. Okay. Jubilee dude, the Emilio guy. Hopefully, I think I should follow up and confirm with him. Show my Halloween costume to stream. Oh, I didn't know if you wanted me to show that to stream, but I can do that by leaking DMs real quick. This is Isaac's Halloween costume. He's Minecraft Steve. As you can tell by the very clearly Minecraft sword. Did this sword come with the costume? It is like literally a Minecraft sword. I will kill you. Single shot drive. Yeah, Isaac, who is, obviously Minecraft Steve in that. We'll be streaming, I'll be streaming tomorrow to talk to the Jubilee person, and then I don't think I have anything else scheduled after that until, Isaac will hopefully be at, I'll be live in 2 hours, I'll be there. Hopefully be at, the Unfuck America tour. I'm pretty sure I can, I'm like 90% sure I can go. But I technically am not 100% yet. I'll get to 100%. Okay, we'll see. But yeah, I love streaming. I love you guys watch me stream. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to go watch on the old content on YouTube if you haven't. A bunch of fun debates that you can go watch. Let's see, is anyone on YouTube worth writing into? I guess Ryan. Or Queeman. Or Dylan Burns. Fuck Queefman. I think I'll give it to Dylan Burns. So, because I think I can rate Dylan Burns on Twitch too. Yeah, okay. Well, head over to Dylan Burns. I'll see you guys tomorrow for sure. And also, make sure to old content, subscribe, like, follow on all my platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch Kick. See you guys tomorrow, and then Unfuck America Tour. That'll be cool. Make sure to subscribe for that. See you guys. Appreciate it. Love you guys.